Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Konoha. Opening sign to Reincarnation I. Chapter 61. This Uchiha Madara. It's so scary. The ghost lamp full moon, who fought with the dried persimmon ghost shark, couldn't help but sweat profusely from the side. Isn't this Uchiha Madara's strength too outrageous? With this distraction, Gue Dengmanu was taken advantage of by the dried persimmon ghost shark, and with one move, he was forced to retreat, and the big sword shark muscle was snatched away. Buzz! The big sword shark muscle fell into the hands of the dried persimmon ghost shark, and there was a slight tremor, as if excited. The dried persimmon ghost shark lightly touched the big knife shark muscle with his hand, and a light flashed in the dead fish's eyes. Is it very exciting? Haha, I'm also very happy to see you again, shark muscle. Saying that, the dried persimmon ghost shark put the shark muscle directly on his back. Yangshi, Mr. Ban, the shark muscle has been obtained, let's go now. The dried persimmon ghost shark said to Obito on the side. Let's go, why are you in such a hurry? But at this moment, a voice suddenly rang out, and everyone on the scene couldn't help but be surprised, and looked in the direction of the voice. I just saw that there was a very unfamiliar Kurigakushi ninja who didn't know when. When did that person appear? No one at the scene could notice it in advance. But there is no doubt that this inexplicable ninja who suddenly appeared is by no means an ordinary person. Dried persimmon ghost shark, I'm here just for you this time. The mouth said very light words, and walked towards the dried persimmon ghost shark step by step calmly. Yutaki Yagura, Terumi Mei, and others were all confused and looked at the man in disbelief. I wonder if this person is crazy. Didn't you see Madara Uchiha, who is loyal to the dried persimmon ghost, so defiant? Are you looking for death? Oh, your excellency is actually here for me. Haha, I don't know why you are looking for me. Dried persimmon ghost shark stared at Lu Ren with interest. Yes, it is Lu Ren who is coming, there is no doubt about that. Conquer you. Lu Ren bluntly stated his purpose. I'm very optimistic about you, so you can follow me. Dried persimmon ghost shark. Others at the scene. Is this guy crazy? In front of Madara Uchiha, go to the corner of Madara Uchiha. Thank you for caring about me, but I'm very sorry, my current owner is Mr. Ban. The dried persimmon ghost shark reached out and held the big sword shark muscle and grinned. It's this crap. Lu Ren glanced at Obito to the side disdainfully, with a look of disdain on his face. He doesn't deserve to be your master. Everyone at the scene was so excited by Ryuan that even Madara Uchiha called it a waste. Is this guy okay with his brain? Lord Ban, someone looks down on you. The dried persimmon ghost shark was also happy, he had never encountered such a thing before. But, the dried persimmon ghost shark's expression suddenly turned cold. He pulled out the muscle of the big sword shark, and walked towards Lu Ren. This kind of neurosis, let me get rid of it for you, Madam Sama. Come on. Don't waste time. Obito just said to the dried persimmon ghost shark coldly, but his eyes were always on Lu Ren. I don't know why, when this Kurigakushi ninja first appeared, Obito felt that this person gave him a very familiar feeling. The dried persimmon ghost shark walked towards the flowing blade step by step, and then a sudden burst of fierceness erupted from his body. The dried persimmon ghost shark is known as tailless, and the amount of chakra in its body is astonishing. Naturally, it cannot be dealt with by ordinary moves. Lu Ren entered the fairy mode in an instant, and struck a thunderbolt at the dried persimmon ghost shark, Chiandoryu. Crackle crackle, a piece of power grid fell from the sky, directly covering the dried persimmon ghost shark. The dried persimmon ghost shark was suddenly knocked to the ground by such a thunder and lightning, and the shark muscle in his hand suddenly fell to the ground. People are also paralyzed and completely lost their combat effectiveness. What a powerful thunder ninjutsu. Tachibana Yagura, Terumi Mei and the others couldn't help but shrank slightly. The Chidori Ryu used by Ryuban was so strong that even they were shocked. It's him. Could it be? It's him. While Terumi Mei was surprised, the mysterious Lei Dun master who had turned over a dozen Kagaya clansmen at that moment flashed in his mind. Could it be this person? When did Wuin have such a number one character? Obito was equally astonished. To be able to defeat the ghost shark so easily, the strength of this mysterious man is indeed incomparable. However, if it was just this thunder ninjutsu, Obito still didn't take it seriously. He let out a cold snort, and then slapped his palms. Would escape. Caw caw caw. A large piece of wood quickly emerged from the foot of Lu Ren, piercing and strangling it frantically. But the figure of Lu Ren disappeared in a very strange way. Of course, the old method is still used, and a shadow clone is separated in advance, and the shadow clone takes Fei Lei Shen Kuei, so that Lu Ren can use Fei Lei Shen to transfer to any place he wants to go at any time. Divine power. Not only that, after the transfer, Lu Ren didn't talk nonsense, and immediately used a long-range divine power against Obito. Click. There was a strange sound of something being cut off. At the same time, a strange cry rang out, "Ah! It hurts. My head is gone." At this moment, Madara Uchiha's mask suddenly disappeared, revealing a strange, wrinkled half of his face. At the same time, on Obito's body, white vines were shaking and struggling frantically, and they looked like living creatures. That strange cry seemed to come from those white vines. Combined with that voice and the writhing appearance, it looked painful. Uchiha Madara. At this moment, everyone saw Obito's real face, and their faces suddenly became suspicious. This is clearly a child. Shit, Uchiha Madara. It's you again. On the other hand, Uchiha Obito turned his head away with a gloomy and shocked face, staring at Lu Ren in shock and anger. At the critical moment just now, Uchiha Obito sensed the long-range power of Lu Ren at the moment when Ah-Fei's head was cut off. Although the appearance of Lu Ren at the moment is different from the original, Obito believes that it is impossible for the ninja world to find a third person who can master the power of pupils. This person must be the Uchiha of Konoha. Obito has always been wearing Bai Jufei on his body. It can be said that he naturally wears a layer of body armor, and Lu Ren will naturally not choose to use Amaterasu to deal with Obito again. It was not Obito who dealt with it, but a Fei. Therefore, after the flow blade was transferred out through Fei Lei Shen this time, he directly exerted his long-range divine power on Obito. Long-range divine power is a kind of space pupil technique. This kind of attack can be regarded as space cutting. Even if Obito is dressed in white, it is useless. Shinwei can completely cut off Ah-Fei and Obito together. However, Obito is not so easy to deal with after all. When Ah-Fei's head, which he wore outside, was cut off, Obito stopped the attack on the flow blade in time at the critical moment, and entered a virtual state. This saved himself the tragic ending of having his head cut off. It's just that Ah-Fei suffered, and his head was cut off by Lu Ren with great precision, which was considered a disaster for Obito. Rao is so, Obito also broke out in a cold sweat. He clearly didn't see any flying thunder god Kuulai thrown by Lu Ren, so how did the other party transfer it? To be able to transfer away from the wooden dungeon's attack in an instant, without being reacted by himself, apart from Fei Lei Shen, Obito couldn't think of any other way. Could it be, the other party has left the flying thunder god technique somewhere in advance? It looks like it should be. Obito knew something, and his face became extremely dignified. If this was the case, then Lu Ren would be even more troublesome for him. Ah-Fei, how are you? Immediately, Obito asked Ah-Fei in a deep voice. Ordinary people will die if their heads are beheaded, but Ah-Fei is not a person at all, but is made up of strips of white vine-like things. Obito wasn't sure if Ah-Fei died from the fatal blow. After all, Ah-Fei's physiological structure is completely different from that of humans. Ah-Fei didn't react at all. I don't know if he was dead, but Obito could feel the chakra fluctuations on Ah-Fei. This may be the only consolation. But what is more shocking is that with Ah-Fei's current state, Mu-Dun is obviously unusable. Mr. Madara Uchiha, I didn't expect to meet again so soon. While everyone's eyes were watching, Rairin walked slowly and easily to the opposite side of Obito. Oh, no, it should be Mr. Madara Uchiha's imposter. Rairin added. At this time, as long as there is no water in the brain, who does not know that Madara Uchiha is pretending to be in front of him? For Lu Ren's joke, Obito just snorted and did not refute. Now that he has lost the ability of wood escape, he is even less the opponent of Lu Ren. Why are you here? Who are you, and what is your purpose? Obito stared at Lu Ren, and asked in a deep voice. Last time, his plan in Kurikan was destroyed by Ryuin, and this time he came to take the dried persimmon ghost shark and was destroyed by Ryuin again. Did this person come specifically to deal with him? But for Mao, he never remembered when he had offended someone from his family, and he never remembered that there was such a number one in the Uchiha clan. Following Obito's question, the others at the scene were also staring at Lu Ren, and they were extremely curious about Lu Ren. The strength of the guy who pretended to be Uchiha Madara was obvious to all, and it was simply outrageous. But as soon as this person came out, he didn't know what means he used, which made Uchiha Madara suffer a big loss. And looking at the appearance of Uchiha Madara, it is obvious that he is extremely jealous of this person. Who is this person wholly? As for Yahiko and Xiaonan, they fell into contemplation. They always felt that this misty ninja seemed to give them a familiar feeling. My purpose, haven't I already said it? I'm here for the dried persimmon ghost shark. Lu Ren shrugged and glanced at Obito lightly. So, get away from me now, I won't embarrass you. Obito's face immediately turned red. When had he suffered such humiliation? But even if he was so angry that his body was about to tremble, he didn't dare to act rashly. Whether it was Lu Ren's long-range divine might or Amaterasu, they were a deadly threat to Obito. He is now in a virtual state all the time, and he does not dare to relax at all. Now, there is no other offay to be the bullet armor with soil. The dry persimmon ghost shark doesn't know what to say now. Originally, he was absolutely loyal to Obito and had no intention of betrayal. But now he discovered that Obito had been deceiving him all the time. Do you really think that I can't help you? Obito shouted angrily at Lu Ren. Caw caw caw. At the same time, the ground around Lu Ren was broken open in the blink of an eye, and one branch after another broke out of the ground again, attacking and strangling against Lu Ren. Is it black and white? The corner of Lu Ren's mouth could not help but evoke a contemptuous smile. The black and white wooden dung is far worse than Afei's wooden dung. In the original book, Afei is wearing Yamato, and even a small number of thousands of hands can be used. In the face of black and white's wooden dung, Lu Ren was much more comfortable. He used the super perceptive power of the immortal mode to immediately perceive where black and white was hiding. Then, with a shake of his hand, he suddenly shot a flying thunder god Kuulai towards the direction of black and white Ju. Swish! Lu Ren disappeared directly on the spot, appeared in an inconspicuous position, and then with a thought, a spiral pill appeared directly in his hand. He pressed it hard against the ground. Boom! Caw caw caw. The ground was directly hit by a big hole with the immortal helix pill of the flowing blade, and the cracks spread out in all directions like a spider web. Not to mention how terrifying it was. But in that big pit, I saw a very strange plant-like person in white, lying motionless in the big pit. Almost all of the upper body was smashed directly by the spiral pills of Lu Ren. That's a miserable one. But what is very strange is that the person has become like that, and there is no blood flowing, let alone bones and organs, etc. Others are amazed, and they don't know what this is. Only Lu Ren could see clearly. The moment the ground was broken open, a mass of black liquid flowed into the ground and disappeared. The Heiju on Heiju's body directly gave up the Baiju he possessed and slipped away quietly. No way, that Baiju was smashed to pieces by Lu Ren, and he couldn't die any longer. How? How did he know where I was hiding? While fleeing, Heiju thought in shock. Obito's face became more and more ugly, and it looked like a piece of black carbon. Could this Uchiha native be his nemesis? How long has it been since he showed up? Afei was obsolete, and black and white was obsolete, and now Obito was left with a bare commander. The current Obito only has a single-eyed writing wheel, and Susa can't even open it. The only trick he can take is one divine power. How can he fight the opponent? Not the opponent's opponent at all, okay. Now his only confidence is that he is in a virtual state all the time, and it is impossible for the other party to hurt him. But it is impossible for Obito to injure the flow blade. Although he didn't want to admit it, Obito had to admit that in the face of Lu Ren, he couldn't do anything other than look at the wind and escape. Who are you, and what kind of grievances do you have with me? Why do you hurt me again and again? Obito asked in an extremely depressed voice, looking at Lu Ren. Did you make a mistake? If I remember correctly, you were the one who plotted against me last time, right? As for this time, I have already said that my goal is dried persimmon and ghost shark, and it has nothing to do with you. Reincarnation said to Obito with a serious face. We'll meet again. After Obito was silent for a while, a space vortex appeared in his pupils and sucked him into it. Obito's whole person just disappeared like that. Everyone at the scene They couldn't help but look at Rairin one by one, and they secretly wondered in their hearts, who is the holy man, and even frightened the Uchiha Madara away. Think about how powerful Madara Uchiha was. When he appeared on the stage, he directly suppressed many powerhouses such as Yutaki Yagura and Terumi Mei, and shocked everyone. But with such an existence, he has become so jealous of this mysterious person. Ka ka ka. Boom. In the violent burst of energy, the wooden branches that bound the Tangerine Yakura to Tuan Tuan suddenly burst open. It exploded into countless pieces of broken wood and scattered. After Fei, who was controlling Mudun, had his head cut off by Lu Ren, these wooden branches had completely lost control and turned into ordinary wooden branches without a soul. Naturally, he couldn't be trapped by Yutaki Yakura. Tachibana Yakura broke free without much effort, and then released Terumi Mei and Yahiko, who was also caught. Lu Ren didn't pay any attention to what Yutaki Yakura and the others were doing, but walked towards the dried persimmon ghost shark step by step. After all, the dried persimmon ghost shark is different from ordinary people. After this period of adjustment, it has recovered some fighting power. He pointed at Lu Ren with the shark muscle in his hand, and said, "I don't care who you are, in short, don't hit me, or I will kill you." Number 1, you simply can't do that. Lu Ren ignored the shark muscles in front of him, and looked at the ghost shark's dead fish eyes calmly. Second, don't you want to know the truth of this world? This whole world is false, and there is no so-called truth at all. I have been completely disappointed in this false world, so don't delusionally get anything from me. The dried persimmon ghost shark was really hurt by Obito, and he no longer had any hope for reality. He is a person who cherishes his companions, but he had to kill many of his companions himself because he was loyal to his boss. But in the end, the dried persimmon ghost shark found that even the boss had colluded with the enemy and treason, and his belief collapsed directly, thinking that everything in the world was false. At this critical moment, Obito appeared in time to show the dried persimmon ghost shark the only reality in the world, the Moon Eye Project, and successfully subdued the ghost shark. But now the ghost shark has discovered that even this only truth is actually a scam. In this world, what else is true? Follow me, I will help you lift the veil and let you realize the true face of this ninja world. If there's one person in the world who really knows this, then I'm the most likely one, aren't I? The shark muscles in the hands of the dried persimmon ghost shark are not so tight. Because what Lu Ren said was true. He was not sure whether this person knew the true face of this ninja world, but this person was indeed the most likely one. Besides, since you've been disappointed in this false world, why don't you go with me? What do you care about? The big deal is to be deceived again. The dried persimmon ghost shark was silent for a moment, and then put away the shark muscle in his hand. Even if I was cheated, I would rather be cheated by someone like you. Very good, then come with me. Lu Ren nodded with great satisfaction. I will tell you what the true face of this ninja world looks like. None of you can leave. An icy voice sounded, but it was the two of Tachibana Yakura and Terumi Mei, who surrounded Lu Ren as if they were enemies. The dried persimmon ghost shark is the betrayal of Wuyin. This mysterious person wants to take it away in a grand manner. What does Wuyin think of it? Do you have your own back garden? It's really unbearable that the uncle can't bear the ants. Fog hidden technique. Immediately following the Tangerine Yakura, the seal quickly formed, and the extremely thick fog was condensed in the blink of an eye, covering all the dozens of kilometers in front of the Shuiying building. Lu Ren looked around, but when he saw the whiteness in front of him, he basically couldn't see anything. Even if Lu Ren has a riding wheel eye, he can't see. With this white mist, he almost becomes a blind man. Moreover, with the help of the special terrain of Korean village surrounded by water and extremely high humidity, it is basically impossible for Lu Ren to use ninjutsu to disperse all the dense fog. Fortunately, Lu Ren is not helpless, as long as he enters the fairy mode. The super perceptive power of the fairy mode is equivalent to turning on thermal imaging. For a master of his level, it is no different from seeing through thick fog. I really want to take the dried persimmon ghost shark, but it's not now, Yutaki Yakura. This time, in addition to the dried persimmon ghost shark, I'm also here for you. However, Lu Ren turned his head away, glanced in the direction of Tachibana Yakura, and smiled lightly. That smile actually looked kind, but it made the chrysanthemum in Yakura's heart tighten instantly. Could this person not be affected by the thick fog? Goji Tachibana Yakura's face suddenly turned cold, and quietly sneaked into Lu Ren in the thick fog. Then he swung his unique weapon, the hook-shaped weapon with a flower, and swept it fiercely towards the flowing blade. Snapped. However, Lu Ren reached out his hand calmly, and easily grabbed the hook weapon of Kuro Tachibana Yakura. What? Goji Tachibana Yakura was shocked. Seeing how easy the opponent was, the hidden mist technique was really useless to him. How come? Yutaki Yakura's surprise was not only because of the failure of the hidden mist technique, but also because of the powerful strength of Lu Ren. The flow blade was simply grasped with one hand, but Yutaki Yakura felt that his hook was clamped by a pair of large iron pliers, and it didn't move. He wanted to take it back, but he couldn't take it back at all. Tachibana Yakura was slightly startled, and stopped talking nonsense. A very thick coral tail appeared directly behind his body. He swept over to the flowing blade fiercely. Spiral pills. Lu Ren's mind moved, and a celestial spiral pill appeared in the palm of his left hand. He didn't even think about it, he pressed it directly on the coral tail. Click. The coral tail was directly smashed to pieces by the flowing blade, and Yakura Tachibana himself was blown away by the incomparably huge impact. Rolled on the ground several times. Swish. In just one face-to-face, Goji Tachibana Yakura was knocked away by the flowing blade. Whoosh. There was no nonsense in Lu Ren, the instant body technique was launched, and he rushed towards Goju Tachibana Yakura again. Water mirror technique. The thick fog in front of Yuju Chikura suddenly appeared in a vacuum, and a mirror appeared in Lu Ren's line of sight. The next moment, another Ryu blade rushed towards Ryu blade from the water mirror. Rairan, who has seen Hokage, knows that the mirror image body created by Yutaki Yakura through the technique of the water mirror can perform the same ninjutsu as the original owner, and even the strength is not bad. I have to say that this is quite a twist. But for the flow blade, it is also very easy to crack. He doesn't believe it anymore. The water mirror technique can replicate ninjutsu, but it can also replicate the boundary of blood. Divine power. Click. The mirror image flow blade that just appeared was cut off directly and turned into a headless corpse and fell to the ground. Clang. Immediately afterwards, Lu Ren did the same, and also gave a divine might to the water mirror of Goji Tachibana Yakura, and the water mirror also shattered into slag in an instant. In a nutshell, Goji Tachibana Yakura's water mirror technique was completely destroyed by the flowing blade as soon as it was used. What method is this? Could it be his pupil technique? Tachibana Yakura's pupils shrank sharply, and the convection blade was extremely jealous. He had seen before that Lu Ren used this move to severely inflict Uchiha Madara, which not only made the opponent reveal his true colors, but also made the opponent lose the power of Mudden. Now that I have experienced it myself, I have learned the power of this trick even more. It is precisely because of this that Yutaki Yakura did not dare to be careless. When the water mirror was destroyed, he immediately controlled the dense fog to fill the previous vacuum. Makes himself and Lu Ren's field of vision, once again filled with white fog. Because he had been controlled by Obito before, Godachi Yakura also had some experience in dealing with Sharingan. This fog-hidden technique can be said to be a ninjutsu that naturally restrains Sharingan. Although the dense fog in front of this person does not seem to cause any trouble to him, but at any rate, it can also prevent the other party from using illusions on him, right? Tatata. In the vast thick fog, Lu Ren rushed towards Yutaki Yakura again. Tachibana Yakura was not affected by the dense fog, and he could perceive this scene clearly. He had already realized that Rairan was not an ordinary ninja, and ordinary means could not compete with this person at all. So, with a direct thought, he entered the state of half-tailed beast. At this moment, his entire body is filled with crimson three-tailed chakras, and the three tails at the back of his body are swaying, but he still maintains a humanoid shape. In this state, Yakura's strength has skyrocketed, and he can also launch the tailed beast Jade. The tailed beast coat can also help him resist most attacks, which is still very powerful. When Lu Ren rushed in front of Yutaki Yakura punched directly towards Lu Ren. The strength is so great that the current Lu Ren feels a kind of suffocation. Far more powerful than what he can play now. Naturally, Lu Ren would not be stupid enough to fight with Yutaki Yakura, not to mention that he knew that if he was punched by the opponent, corals would grow on his body immediately. The flowing blade directly turned solid into virtual, and the body automatically entered the virtual state. Goji Tachibana Yakura's fist hit Lu Ren in an instant, but before he had time to be happy, he was stunned to find that his fist had actually penetrated through the opponent's body. Goji Tachibana Yakura was scolded for a moment, and when he was caught off guard, the flowing blade actually passed through him and came behind him. Goji Tachibana Yakura was taken aback. His back was the empty door for a person. No matter what kind of attack the other party made on him at this time, he could not deal with it. But fortunately, at this moment, he has the protection of the tail beast coat, so there is no need to worry too much. However, Lu Ren did not attack Yakura Gotachibana. Lu Ren also knew that under the protection of the opponent's tailed beast coat, conventional attacks would not cause any damage to Goji Tachibana Yagura at all, and it was just a waste of effort. And Amaterasu, which can restrain the opponent's pupil technique, is also of no use at all because of the thick fog. After all, with the help of the special landform of the Land of Water, and the intentional intentions of Yutaki Yakura, this thick fog is really outrageous, and it is impossible to see each other face to face. Of course, it is not invisible at all, but it is as blurry as a mosaic, which greatly affects the use of Amaterasu. He can't accurately judge the distance between himself and the other party. But because of this, it also gave Lu Ren a chance. Hungry Ghost Road. The pupils in Lu Ren's eyes turned, and the original scarlet riding wheel eyes turned directly into Samsara eyes, and then his hands were directly attached to the back of Yuju Tachibana Yakura. Yes, Lu Ren used the power of Samsara Eye. Under the dense fog of this level, it doesn't matter if there are some Baiju lying in ambush in the fog, and it is impossible for the other party to see it. Don't say Baiju, even the ninja Terumime of Kurigakura, Lu Ren believes that the other party will not be able to see the changes in his pupils clearly. After all, the other party can move in the thick fog, and it must have used a special sensing method, and it is impossible for the line of sight to be unaffected. Then again, even if you take 10,000 steps back, the other party's line of sight is really unaffected, so it doesn't matter. Lu Ren also deliberately used the body of Yutaki Yagura to block Terumime. He used the immortal mode to lock the position of Terumime all the time. 3 o'clock and one line, it's that simple. Suck. Under the power of the hungry ghost realm, the tailed beast chakra on Yakura Goji melded into Lu Ren's body like a whale swallowing a cow. The tailed beast coat on his body faded at a speed visible to the naked eye, and in the blink of an eye, nothing was left. It's as if Nagato sucked Kurabi's tailed beast coat dry, relaxed and happy. How could this be? Chakra was absorbed by him. What is this method? Tachibana Yagura was shocked to the extreme. Boom. Lu Ren, however, was too lazy to explain anything to Yutaki Yakura, so he grabbed Yutaki Yakura's hands and slammed it hard, slamming Yutaki Yakura to the ground. Master Shueying. Terumime saw that Yutaki Yakura was defeated by Rairan so quickly, and he let out an exclamation, and the person rushed directly towards Rairan. The art of melting and melting monsters. Terumime also opened her mouth directly, and sprayed out a large cloud of corrosive viscous liquid at the flow blade. But it penetrated directly through Lu Ren's body, and all of them slammed onto the ground behind Lu Ren. In hiss, that piece of ground suddenly sunk into it. Broken. Isn't this the method of that fake Uchiha Madara? How can this person do it? Terumime was really frightened and angry. She never expected that in addition to the fake Uchiha Madara in the ninja world, there was a second person who could use such a strange method. Simply incomprehensible. Unless, as Mizukage-sama said, continuous and uninterrupted attacks on this person. Uchiha's people are really more troublesome than each other. Yutaki Yakura got up from the ground, and his face was full of fear and shock. Snapped. Terumime clapped both hands at this time, and quickly made a seal, water escape water shock. Laugh. A waterline blasted directly towards the flowing blade. Tachibana Yakura also took advantage of the moment when Terumime launched an attack on the Ryu blade, using the Shunshu technique to quickly dodge to the side, and also hit a waterline at the Ryu blade. Two incomparably violent waterlines shot towards the flowing blade from two directions. Tachibana Yakura and Terumime's ideas are very good. With the help of the extremely dense water vapor in the Land of Water, they can continue to attack for more than 10 minutes without a problem. Enough to break the blur of the flowing blade. But they overlooked one point: Lu Ren is not Obito. Blindness is only one of his methods for Lu Ren, and he is far from relying on this trick like Obito. Even Obito, when he realizes the enemy that Shinwei can't deal with, will use Offei's wooden tunnel to fight the enemy, and it is impossible for him to be easily attacked. When the two water lines were about to hit Lu Ren's hands began to form seals quickly, and the immortal chakra circulated constantly throughout the body, tu dun tu lubi. Boom! An incomparably thick, and at the same time incomparably sturdy earth wall rises directly from the ground. No, it should be a city wall more precisely. Because the scale of this earth wall is much exaggerated than that of ordinary earth flow walls. That is not at all an earth fluid wall that ordinary people can use. That's an exaggeration. While watching the lively dried persimmon ghost shark, a flash of surprise flashed in the dead fish's eyes, and he commented with a chuckle. Hee, Yutaki Yagura, I never thought that even a character of this level would kill you, cough. Teodi, who has been seriously injured on the ground, will not be cut again, but there is a hint of pride and coldness on his face. Even if he failed to assassinate Sui Ying today, Sui Ying would definitely die. This mysterious powerhouse is really terrifying, and ravaging Yagura is like ravaging a child. If you don't kill the adults, you will be fine. Bai ran over with concern on his face and helped Teodi not to cut it again. I'm fine, cough. Momoji Zaibusion stood up with Shiro's support, staring at the Rukin who was fighting alone against Yutaki Yagura and Terumi Mei. The same is true for the full moon with ghost lights. As for Yahiko and Xiaonan, they are not Kurikaku ninjas, they really became blind in the vast white mist. You can only hear the battle that seems to be very fierce, but what happened on the battlefield is completely unknown. Chi-Chi, under the gazes of Momochi Zabuzuki, Ghost Dang Manu, and Dried Persimmon Ghost Shark, they saw that the waterline of Yutaki Yagura and Terumi Mei was completely blocked by the earth flow wall of Rukin. Block firmly. That is the earth flow wall in the immortal mode. Naturally, it is not comparable to the ordinary earth flow wall. It is completely relaxed and enjoyable to defend the waterline of Terumi Mei and Godachi Yagura. Not only that, but at the moment when Tulubi blocked his opponent's sight for himself, Lu Ren also used the technique of Flying Thunder God to silently transfer himself out. And using the space transfer of Shinwei, he appeared directly behind Terumi Mei. Thousands of birds. Terumi Mei, who was attacking Rukin with all her strength, suddenly heard a voice behind her, and she screamed badly in her heart. This person's bizarre teleportation method is simply too terrifying. Crack. But at this moment, thunder and lightning suddenly appeared in the sky above Terumi Mei's head, and struck directly on Terumi Mei's body. Terumi Mei let out a muffled groan, and the person fell directly to the ground. The whole person was in a state of paralysis of the hands and feet, and completely lost the combat effectiveness. If it wasn't for Lu Ren not wanting to kill and deliberately showing mercy to Mi Mei, Terumi Mei would have died thoroughly. Terumi Mei. Tachibana Yagura could not help but let out an exclamation. If Terumi Mei died, the loss to the village would be too great. When is it, you dare to be distracted? But Tachibana Yagura had just finished saying those words, and a voice resounded coldly behind him. It is the shadow clone of Lu Ren. What? Citrus cornflower chrysanthemum cannot help but tight. He could see clearly, the enemy was standing beside Terumi Mei, why was there another behind him? In just an instant of effort, Yagura Kurochi reacted. While the enemy was dealing with Terumi Mei, he also split up a clone to deal with himself. Crack. But at this moment, it was too late to say anything, and before Yutaki Yagura could react, he was knocked to the ground by several lightning bolts. He was completely immobile, and became meat on a chopping board for anyone to slaughter. After easily getting the two of Yutaki Yagura and Terumi Mei, Lu Ren began to relax and walked to Yutaki Yagura step by step. Tachibana Yagura's eyes were fixed on Lu Ren, and there was deep fear and unwillingness in his eyes. He didn't know what Lu Ren was going to do to him, but no matter what Lu Ren did to him, he had no power to resist. Are you going to kill him? Dried Persimmon Ghost Shark asked with interest on the side. Honest people really regarded this battle as a lively scene. No, I don't have this plan. Ryuren's words made Yagura sigh in relief. But then there was a turning point in Lu Ren's conversation, and the chrysanthemum that had just loosened Yutaki Yagura suddenly tightened again, I just want to pull out the 3 tails from Yutaki Yakura's body. Dried persimmon ghost shark. Pete, aren't you just going to kill Yakura Gooseberry? As soon as the tailed beast is drawn out, isn't Ren Zuli dead? Hearing Lu Ren's words, Terumi Mei was really anxious to the extreme, but now she has completely lost her fighting power, but she can't help at all. Not only that, because this conspiracy involved the participation of a high-level member of Wuyin, the Ghost Lamp Full Moon, and the other party blocked the area around the Shuiying building in advance. Therefore, the other ninjas in the village would not come to the rescue at all. She could only watch Shuiying helplessly, dying at the hands of this person. As for the Ghost Lamp Full Moon who wanted to assassinate Yuju Yakura, his expression changed slightly, and a cold light flashed in his eyes. He really wanted to kill Yutaki Yakura, but Sanwei couldn't let it fall into the hands of outsiders. The Ghost Lamp Full Moon assassinated Shuiying for the sake of the village. This sentence is not just a talk, but a truth. This man must be stopped. In the eyes of the Ghost Lamp Full Moon, a fierce light flashed. However, the strength of this mysterious person is really too strong, and the dense fog summoned by Yutaki Yakura does not seem to have any effect on this person. Ghost Lantern Full Moon also did not dare to shoot easily. After he pondered for a while, he made a decision. The hydration technique was used, and the whole person silently turned into a pool of water. Just like that, in the state of water, quietly on the ground to move towards the flow blade. At this moment, everyone's attention was on Lu Ren's body, and on Yutaki Yakura's body, and no one noticed the Ghost Lamp Full Moon. The Ghost Lamp Full Moon turned into a pool of liquid, flowing slowly among the grass and stones. Who could detect it? Especially with the dense fog covering the sky. What Ghost Lantern Manu would not have thought was that, under the super perception of the flowing blade immortal mode, all the chakra fluctuations around him could not be concealed from the other party. The Ghost Lamp Full Moon was sensed by Lu Ren the moment it was just hydrated. The whole process of that group of liquid chakra moving to the flowing edge is also clearly under the monitoring of the flowing edge. However, Lu Ren didn't answer at all, as if he didn't see it. The ghost lamp is just a full moon, and it can't even pose a threat to him at all. Ryu continued to do his own thing. As soon as he ripped off Yutaki Yakura's clothes, the sealing technique on Yutaki Yakura's abdomen appeared in front of Lu Ren. Lu Ren has signed in at Konoha for so long, and Konoha has mastered many sealing techniques, big and small. It can be said unceremoniously that Lu Ren's current sealing technique is unparalleled in the world. This is no exaggeration at all. As we all know, the most powerful sealing technique in the entire ninja world is the Vortex family, and the Vortex family used to live in the country of Vortex. Later, the country of Vortex was destroyed, and most of the sealing techniques were sealed in Konoha. After all, the Vortex clan is a distant relative of the Thousand Hands clan. The relationship between the kingdom of Vortex and Konoha is naturally extraordinary. Even during the war, many Vortex clansmen quietly lived in Konoha. Just incognito. Among them, Uzumaki Kushina is married to Konoha genius ninja Yellow Flash, needless to say. And those sealing techniques that originally belonged to the kingdom of Vortex, which were sealed in Konoha, have been signed in by Lu Ren for a long time. Looking at the entire ninja world, who else has a sealing technique that can rival Lu Ren? He almost glanced at it, and saw through the sealing technique on Yutaki Yakura. This sealing technique is completely a variant of the sealing technique of the country of Vortex. After so many years, is the ninja world still eating the old book of the country of Vortex? I don't know how to innovate. Lu Ren doesn't need to shake his head and chuckle. During the Warring States period, Chisho Hasuma and Uchiha Madara captured 9 big-tailed beasts and sent them to the major ninja villages. And after so many years, these sealing techniques have been passed down from generation to generation. Since this is the case, it is even more difficult to crack the flow blade. He just studied it for a while, and has already analyzed the method of cracking. Don't look at me like this, you won't die, don't worry. Lu Ren smiled at Yutaki Yakura, stopped talking nonsense, and started to lift the seal on Yutaki Yakura. Tachibana Yakura began to struggle desperately, but at this moment he had lost his fighting power, and he couldn't make any waves in Lu Ren's hands. Snapped. Ryu stretched out his hand and slapped Yutaki Yakura's abdomen and started his performance. But suddenly, Lu Ren's movements stopped for a while. Because behind him, a cloud of liquid condensed silently from the ground and slowly turned into a human shape. It's the full moon of ghost lights. Terumi Mei was surprised and happy, as if seeing the last hope. In fact, for now, the ghost lamp full moon has indeed become the only life-saving straw for Wuyin. Ghost Lantern Manu lurked silently beside Lu Ren, and she didn't even find her as a ninja, let alone an outsider. The dried persimmon ghost shark naturally saw the ghost lamp full moon, but he did not remind Lu Ren, instead the dead fish's eyes flashed with interest, full of interest. I wonder if you can survive the ghost lamp full moon trick. Gone persimmon ghost shark thought enthusiastically. There was a look of struggle on Teodi Zybuxian's face. He was not a fool, and naturally he understood Ghost Lantern Manu's intention all at once. But Teodi did not cut again and did not make a sound to remind Lu Blade. The motivation for this second time to assassinate Mizukage Momochi is a bit more complicated, but in the end, Momochi doesn't cut it again because I hope Wuyin will get better. The tailed beast was taken away, which was not what he wanted to see. Success. Under everyone's attention, the ghost lamp full moon has condensed into a human shape behind Lu Ren, and a look of joy flashed on his face. Then, he stretched out his hands, took a modern pistol stance, and pointed his finger at Ryuan's head. That is the unique attacking secret technique of their ghost lamp clan, the technique of water and iron cannons. At this moment, whether Terumi Mei or dried persimmons, ghosts and sharks, or the peach land is not cut, the heart can't help being lifted, and the moment of life and death is coming soon. Crack. But at this moment, a few lightning bolts suddenly broke out around the ghost lamp full moon, and all of a sudden the ghost lamp full moon was turned on the ground. The ghost lamp full moon suddenly collapsed to the ground, unable to move, and turned into a jelly-like object. The ghost lamp clan is especially afraid of thunder. Hateful. Terumi Mei slapped her thigh angrily. At this time, she still doesn't understand, and the other party has already noticed the whereabouts of Ghost Lantern Manu from the beginning. Just how does this guy do it? Even she didn't even notice it before Ghost Lantern Manu took the initiative to show up. Failed. This really surprised me, and didn't surprise me. Dried persimmon ghost shark was stunned and muttered to himself. After solving the ghost lamp full moon, no one will interfere with the flow blade again. After his hands slapped on Yutaki Yagura a few times, the seal on Yutaki Yagura was powerfully broken by Lu Ren. At that moment, an overwhelming coercion suddenly appeared, shrouding everyone's heart. It made them feel as if a big rock was pressed against their chests, and it seemed difficult to even breathe. In this oppressive and maddening coercion, terrifying energy fluctuations were also uploaded from the body of Goji Tachibana Yagura. What? This extremely painful sound came from the mouth of Yutaki Yagura. On his abdomen, a gray claw sticks out, followed by another paw, and then, a head. The monster in Yagura Gogeta has come out. Roar. A low, violent roar suddenly came out of that head, as if all the anger and tyranny that had been suppressed for a lifetime were vented out in one breath. Sanwei was released. Terumi Mei's eyes were a little lost, looking at the violent beast and whispering in a low voice, her brows furrowed like a chrysanthemum blooming in late autumn. The ghost lamp full moon also looked extremely ugly, and the thing he least wanted to see happened after all. Soon, most of the three tails had already crawled out, and only the three tails remained in the body of Yutaki Yagura. At this moment, Lu Ren suddenly shot. Divine power. Click. A force of space suddenly appeared, directly cutting off one of the three tails. Roar. There was an angry roar from Sanwei's mouth, and he suddenly jumped out of Yutaki Yagura's body, and rushed directly at Lu Ren. Swish. But at that very moment, Ryuan's body disappeared very suddenly, and even Yutaki Yagura, who had just been on the side, disappeared. The two suddenly appeared several hundred meters away. Roar. Sanwei suddenly rushed into the air. Furious, he turned his head and looked around, and felt the chakra of the flowing blade continue to rush towards the flow blade. Boom boom boom. The entire ground shook, as if an earthquake had occurred, not to mention how terrifying the momentum was. 4 elephant seals. However, Lu Ren didn't seem to see this at all, and his hands began to press Yutaki Yagura's body suddenly. A circle of sealing techniques spread out, sealing a tail of the three tails in the body of Yutaki Yagura. In this way, the life of Goji Tachibana Yagura will be saved, and he will not die because of the loss of the tailed beast chakra. You really don't kill me. Tachibana Yagura was greatly surprised. When the seal was forcibly broken, he thought he was doomed. Who would have thought that in the blink of an eye, this person forcibly cut off one of the tails of the three tails, specifically to prolong his life? He didn't believe Lu Ren once said before that he wouldn't kill him, but now, the iron truth is in front of him. Citrus Yagura was speechless. Lu Ren didn't pay any attention to Yagura Gotochiya, and just walked towards Sanwei step by step, as if the behemoth rushing towards him was just an insignificant little animal. No matter why you let me out, no matter what your purpose, you will find that you have made a big mistake. Sanwei's voice was full of solemnity and murderous intent, and he shot a tailed beast jade at Lu Ren from a distance. Whether it was seeing Lu Ren's great power in the body of Yutaki Yagura before, or just being inexplicably cut off a tail, it made Sanwei understand that Lu Ren is by no means an ordinary person. So he came up with a big move. Lu Ren didn't dodge or dodge, as if he didn't see it, but in his pupils, the riding wheel eyes were spinning rapidly. Pupil power is constantly circulating. In the blink of an eye, the giant Susa appeared. Because the thick fog around him has not dissipated yet, Lu Ren couldn't use illusion to control the three tails, so he simply drove the Gundam incomparably. Susanoo. When Sanwei saw the giant, his entire face changed color. This is a power that can only be possessed by gods, and it is absolutely not something he can resist. Who is this person holy? Shinwei Shuriken. Lu Ren first used a divine shuriken to transfer Santai's tailed beast jade, and then flew directly and kicked Santai. With a single kick, the three tails were blown away. In front of Susa, Sanwei was really as weak as a toy, and he couldn't bear to look directly. Boom boom boom. Then, Sanwei began his tragically abused career. He was pressed on the ground by the giant Susa and rubbed hard. It seemed that it was a horrible thing to see, and everyone couldn't bear the ravages. How powerful is this? Is this your true strength? Dried persimmon ghost shark and a pair of dead fish are all amazed. Although he has not officially followed Lu Ren, he should also feel that this future new boss has left the old boss far away in all aspects. He was already beginning to look forward to it. Not only the dried persimmon ghost shark, but all of them, such as Yagura, Terumi Mei, and Full Moon, were all shocked by Susanoo. That is simply a higher level of power beyond their level. It's simply not something they can compete with. Even the three tails were too weak to resist in the face of this kind of power. This mysterious man wants to capture Sanwei, and they can't stop it at all. Terumi Mei and others also felt a deep sense of powerlessness in their hearts. Under everyone's attention, Sanwei was quickly ravaged by Susa to the death, and Rairin withdrew directly from Susa's state. Snapped. Immediately afterwards, Lu Ren slapped both hands, Shanfuming Shenmen. Whoosh whoosh. Several red torii gates descended from the sky, directly, pinning Sanwei to the ground, unable to move. After doing all this, Lu Ren clapped his hands, as if he had done something trivial, so relaxed. After half an hour, I will return Sanwei to you. Whether you believe it or not, I have no interest in capturing Sanwei at all. Lu Ren said to Yagura Gotochiya and the others in a leisurely manner. For this sentence, Yutaki Yagura and others still believed it a bit. They had seen Lu Ren's ability to defy the sky with their own eyes, and it was too easy to capture Sanwei with this human means. If the other party really has this heart, Sanwei is no longer in Wuin now. Tachibana Yagura is also dead. But the other party did not take Sanwei, but just sealed Sanwei on the ground. Although they didn't understand the purpose of Lu Ren's move, the other party should really have no intention of capturing Sanwei. The originally noisy scene suddenly became quiet, and the atmosphere of the scene became strange and quiet. Lu Ren sat next to Sanwei with such a dignified look on his face, as if he was walking his pet. Yagura Gotochibana, Mei Terumi, all stared at Rairin unwillingly and suspiciously. They didn't know what Lu Ren was doing, but at the same time, they didn't have any power to stop or interrupt Lu Ren, and they couldn't even sneak out to rescue soldiers. Because in order to prevent these people from causing trouble for themselves, Lu Ren immediately took action and caught everyone into the Shinwei space. Even Yahiko and Konan are the same. No way, these two have a strong sense of justice now, and they will definitely not sit idly by when they see Lu Ren's attack on Wyan's tailed beast, and will definitely find a way to stop it. In such a huge scene, Lu Ren was the only honest person left by Lu Ren. After all, among the so many people who had been calling before, only the dry persimmon ghost shark didn't care what he did to Sanwei at all. This is the first time for me to observe Sanwei so closely. The dried persimmon ghost shark walked to Lu Ren's side and looked up and down at Sanwei curiously. It's really ugly. You actually underestimate the uncle. Insulting the uncle. The arrogant Sanwei suddenly became angry. His eyes squinted at the dried persimmon ghost shark, and an angry roar came from his mouth. The dog who lost his family, what's the look? The dried persimmon ghost shark curled his lips in disdain. In the front, Obito controlled the power of Renju, and in the back, Lu Ren ravaged the three tails like a dog. The power and deterrence of the tailed beasts have long been lost in the dry persimmon ghost shark. However, this lord, you don't take Sanwei, just seal him here, what is it for? Gone persimmon ghost shark then asked Lu Ren with interest. I told you, you don't understand either. Lu Ren shrugged. The dried persimmon ghost shark didn't say much, just stood aside with the shark muscle on his back and waited quietly for Lu Ren. Ding! The location of Gifu is generated. It wasn't until half an hour later that such a prompt flashed in Lu Ren's mind, and he patted his butt and stood up. With a thought, all the people who had been caught by him in the Shinwei space before were released by Lu Ren again. All of them were in shock, staring at Lu Ren as if they were facing a big enemy, not even daring to take a breath. Ming Shenmin, solution. Flowing Blade clapped his hands. Whoosh whoosh. The red torii that suppressed the three tails disappeared. Three tails will be returned to you now, Guju Yakura, don't I need to seal it for you? Lu Ren glanced at Guju Yakura. Tachibana Yakura doesn't seem to believe Lu Ren's words. This man used so much energy to pull the three tails out of his body, and he would give it back to himself if he didn't do anything. Get Harry, isn't this some kind of conspiracy? Terumi Mei and Ghostlight Manuki also looked vigilant and suspicious. Lu Ren shook his head and was too lazy to pay attention to it. Now each ninja village has its own method of capturing and sealing tailed beasts, so naturally he doesn't need to bother. Ghost Shark, let's go. Lu Ren ignored Guju Yagura, but greeted the dried persimmon ghost shark and swaggered away. The dried persimmon ghost shark carried the shark muscle on his back, he laughed, followed Lu Ren unhurriedly, and left slowly. Tachibana Yakura, Terumi Mei, and the others changed their expressions several times, but they finally did not dare to act rashly, and watched Lu Ren and Gone Persimmon Ghost Shark leave. No way, the strength of that mysterious person is too strong, they did not leave the strength of the other party at all. Just like this, Lu Ren and the dry persimmon ghost shark left the country of water with ease. In the boundless water outside the water, a small boat ripples on the lake. Lu Ren was sitting on the boat leisurely, but at this time, Lu Ren had returned to his original appearance, and was no longer the camouflage of Korean. The dry persimmon ghost shark was in charge of riding the boat on the side. He glanced at Lu Ren from time to time, and the dead fish couldn't help but wonder. I really can't believe that Lu Ren-sama is so young as that Uchiha Madara's imposter. Whether it is Uchiha Rukin and the imposter of Uchiha Madara, they are clearly a child. Ghost Shark, I know you have a lot of questions. Whatever you want to ask, just ask. Facing the praise from the dried persimmon ghost shark, Lu Ren looked as usual, unmoved, but said lightly to the dried persimmon ghost shark. I really have a lot of questions. The dried persimmon ghost shark also held back all the way, and now he is no longer polite. First of all, I am curious, who is that fake Uchiha Madara? His name is Uchiha Obito. He's just a poor Uchiha clan who was deceived by others. Lu Ren briefly explained Obito's identity. Is he just someone else's pawn? Gone Persimmon Ghost Shark said in surprise. That's such a powerful character. Uchiha Obito was actually used by others. So what is the level of the mastermind behind Uchiha Obito? Not only Obito is someone else's pawn, but even the man behind Obito is someone else's pawn. Lu Ren's next sentence made the dried persimmon ghost shark fall into extreme speechlessness. The ninja world is too complicated, isn't it? He turned out to be a pawn of someone else's pawn. Do honest people deserve to be deceived like this? Then Master Lu Ren, what is the true face of the ninja world you mentioned earlier? After a pause, the dry persimmon ghost shark stared at Lu Ren and asked. Ghost Shark, Obito once told you about the Moon Eye plan, right? Lu Ren asked casually at this time. The dry persimmon ghost shark was stunned for a moment. He did not expect that such a secret thing was actually learned by Lu Ren. From this point of view alone, the pattern of the flow blade will be higher than that of Uchiha Obito. Let all the people in the whole ninja world fall into illusion, so as to build a world where everyone can be happy and happy. I don't want to comment too much on this concept, everyone has their own measure. But what Obito doesn't know is that the Moon Eye project itself is actually a huge scam. Because the end of the entire ninja world after falling into illusion is death. It's a monster that turned into a half-human half-plant after being drained of all chakras. It's the monster made of many white vines that Obito is wearing. And the guy next to Obito with a pitcher plant on his head. The dry persimmon ghost shark couldn't help taking a breath. The Eye of the Moon plan, which he had believed so strongly in before, turned out to be so terrifying. So, what is the truth of the Moon Eye plan? After the dry persimmon ghost shark digested the shocking news for a while, he looked at Lu Ren and asked. The Eye of the Moon project is nothing but a dutiful son of the ninja world, trying his best to revive his mother. All those who have fallen into the illusion will be pumped into adulthood, and their chakra will be absorbed by an old woman who has been sleeping for thousands of years. Then, the old woman will be resurrected. This is the truth of the Moon Eye project. Eye of the Moon project, so it turned out to be like this. Dry persimmon ghost shark was stunned for a long time before shaking his head and letting out a long sigh. At the same time, a cold sweat broke out from behind him. If he really helped Obito realize the Moon's Eye plan, doesn't that mean that he has become an accomplice in destroying the entire ninja world? Even if he thinks this world is fake, he doesn't want to do such extreme things. Lord Lu Ren, what about you? Dried persimmon ghost shark turned his head to look at Lu Ren, and asked sternly, what is your purpose? Or, what do you need me to do? It's very simple, at this stage, I just need you to investigate the whereabouts of the two people for me. Lu Ren shrugged. It seems that the identities of those two people are not simple, right? Dry persimmon ghost shark didn't ask much. It's not that simple, one of them is Ren Zuli with 4 tails, and the other is Ren Zuli with 6 tails. Lu Ren nodded and replied. Master Lu Ren is looking for Yugao. That guy has defected from the village for many years, and there is still 4-tailed man Zuli. If I remember correctly, he seems to have defected too, right? It's not an easy task to find these two people, but since Lord Lu Ren has instructed me, I will do my best to do it. The dry persimmon ghost shark is still relatively reliable, and he responded to Lu Ren's orders without any compromise. As for the flow blade who has already read Hokage and knows the ghost shark very well, he is also very relieved to give it to the ghost shark. Once this person is determined to submit to himself, he will never betray. It doesn't matter, it's not just you who did this alone, but also Orochimaru, he is also my person. Lu Ren said casually. As expected of Master Lu Ren, even Konoha's Sannin has been subdued by you. Dried persimmon ghost shark said with admiration. At this time, Lu Ren took out a black stick and handed it to the dried persimmon ghost. If you want to contact me in the future, inject chakra into it, and I will sense it. This black stick is exactly the black stick made by Ryuan using the Samsara Eye, and Nagato used this thing to control the 6 paths of pain. The dried persimmon ghost shark has no nonsense, just put away the black stick. At this moment, Lu Ren, a space vortex appeared in his pupils, and immediately sucked his whole person into it, and completely disappeared. Above the vast water, another boat. A middle-aged man with an extremely pale complexion and no trace of blood was paddling in the water unhurriedly. At the bow of the boat was a boy with white hair who looked very introverted. The young man curled up into a ball, occasionally turning his head to look at the surrounding water, with a trace of curiosity in his eyes. He had never seen the ocean yet. These two were the subordinates Lu Ren had just accepted, Orochimaru and Junmaru. Junmaru, can you tell me how you met the adults? Orochimaru asked Junmaru with a hint of curiosity while boarding the boat. Junmaru turned his head with a blank look on his face. Ah. I don't know either, but suddenly I met an adult. For Junmaru, it was really sudden. The patriarch sent a message to let him return to the clan, and then he followed Lu Ren in such a confused way. Lord Lu Ren also chose you specially, Orochimaru said with twinkling eyes. But considering Junmaru's talent, this doesn't seem to be too strange. The two were talking, and suddenly a space vortex appeared in front of them, and the flowing blade came out from the space vortex. Negligence, I forgot to give Orochimaru the black stick before. Fortunately, this guy hasn't gone far, and I sensed it with the immortal mode. Otherwise, it would really take a lot of effort to find them. Lu Ren thought to himself. Lord Flowing Blade. As soon as Rukin appeared, Junmaro, who had been shrinking into a ball at the bow, immediately stood up. It seems that when you see the flowing blade, you see the backbone. After all, for Junmaro, who had been locked in prison since he was a child, Rairin was the first person who truly understood him completely. This feeling is completely different. Lu Ren stretched out his hand and touched Junmalu's little face. Don't say it, the flesh is quite comfortable. Does Master Lu Ren have anything to explain? Orochimaru asked leisurely. Orochimaru, I need a secret base. Lu Ren thought for a while, and told Orochimaru unceremoniously, I will leave this matter to you. Orochimaru changed his will through Bishan God, and now he is also loyal to Lu Ren, and accepts Lu Ren's request without any discount. This is simple. I have already run several secret experimental bases, and Master Lu Ren can choose any one. Orochimaru replied, and then introduced the specific situation of his current bases to Lu Ren. Just the one on the island. Lu Ren made his choice without any hesitation. There is no other reason. The base on the island is secret enough, and the surrounding water is a natural protective layer and isolation zone. This is true for ordinary ninjas, and the same is true for Shirai. Baiju can hide under the ground, but he can't also hide under the water, right? Go back and make arrangements, there will be our secret base in the future. No problem. Orochimaru agreed immediately. By the way, the dried persimmon ghost shark of Wuyin is also my person now, and I also gave him the same task. Lu Ren said hello to Orochimaru again, so that the two would have an idea when they meet in the future. Don't know the situation and fight again, then coke. Dried persimmon ghost shark, is it the guy with an amazing amount of chakra? Orochimaru stuck out his tongue and licked his lips. He even heard the name of the dried persimmon ghost shark. After instructing Orochimaru about other things, Lu Ren took out 2 black sticks and gave them to Orochimaru and Junmalu respectively. After telling the two of them how to use it, they took advantage of the power to leave. Considering the harvest of Wuyin and his party this time, not only did they successfully generate a sign in locations such as Isofu's location, but they also conquered Orochimaru, dried persimmon ghost shark, and Junmalu. It can be said that the harvest is full. Flow Blade is very satisfied. A secret base under the Kamabashi Bridge. Obito was holding a scroll while researching, and at his feet, there were many other scrolls thrown at random. It's so complicated. How did Madara transplant me? Obito watched for a while, and patted his forehead very irritably. And not far in front of Obito, was a high platform formed by 2 dun, and above the high platform was a headless corpse of Baiju. There is no doubt that it was the poor Afei. After all, Afei is not a human being, and he still hasn't died after being chopped off by Lu Ren. However, although not dead, it is completely abolished, and can only convey some messy consciousness unconsciously from time to time. He didn't even talk about the poop that he had been talking about all day long, showing that his brain was really broken. Don't worry Obito, take your time, I believe you will cure Afei. Black and White encouraged Obito on the side. Yes, Obito is learning the knowledge left by Madara, and intends to cure Afei. No way, Obito now needs Afei's power too much. In Yuyan village, Afei blocked the Amaterasu for him once, and Afei in Wuyin blocked the divine power for him once. It can be said that Afei has saved his life twice. Facing the huge threat of that Konoha Uchiha, Obito needs Afei's power more than ever. Even without Afei, he didn't have enough confidence to face Lu Ren again. Whether it's Amaterasu or long-range Shinwei, it's an almost unsolvable big move. Obito, that guy is so powerful, do we need to make some adjustments to our plan? Haiheiju was stunned for a while, and then asked again, otherwise, we won't go to Konoha. According to the information, Konoha's man, the Vortex Kushina, is pregnant, and if you count the days, she is afraid that she will give birth soon. Obito plans to take this opportunity to go to Konoha to do things. What's more, Obito is looking for the owner of Samsara Eye, and the most crucial point is to agree with their philosophy. To achieve this, conventional brainwashing is not enough, and some extraordinary means must be used. To further divide Uchiha and the village, and to intensify the contradiction between the two, is just the beginning. But that was before. In the past, they didn't know that Konoha actually had such a perverted guy as Uchiha Ryuban. Not even just a pervert, this person can be said to be the nemesis of Obito. In view of Obito's divine power, in fact, even some ninjas stronger than Obito can't do anything about Obito, but that guy has many ways to hurt Obito. The threat is simply too great. No, just follow the original plan, Obito said stubbornly. But with soil, it doesn't matter, I have decided to transplant a reincarnation eye for myself, Obito said in a deep voice, with a solemn expression on his face. In fact, at the beginning, Obito didn't plan to transplant the reincarnation eye for himself, but planned to find a Uchiha clansman to do this. After all, the person who transplants the reincarnation eye must finally shoulder the sacred mission of the resurrection spot. To put it bluntly, he was saving Madara's life with his own life. Even if Obito agrees with Madara's Moon Eye plan, he will not just die for Madara, especially when there are a lot of other options. But right now, the threat that Ryuban brings to Obito is simply too great. Even if Obito cured off Fray, he still had no chance of defeating Lu Ren. So after some weighing, Obito had to make such a compromise, transplant a reincarnation eye to himself to enhance his strength. The other reincarnation eye is looking for a suitable Uchiha clan to transplant and undertake the mission of resurrecting spots. In this way, their strength can be greatly improved, and their plans will not be delayed. Simply the best of both worlds. Konoha, Flowing Blade, who had been around in the hidden mist waves, silently returned to the village using the magic of divine might. And looking for an opportunity to quietly replace his shadow clone, with his current strength, everything is flawless. Not found by anyone. When he removed the shadow clone, the memory of the clone flooded into Lu Ren's mind, making Lu Ren quite speechless. Ji Lai's autographed Intimacy Paradise. I just had a whim that day. I never thought that Ji Lai would still remember it. Flow Blade is also served. When he was patrolling in the morning, he met Jiraiya, who mysteriously called Lu Ren aside, and handed Lu Ren a book with a mean smile. It is a masterpiece signed by Jiraiya, the best-selling author in the ninja world. And Jiraiya also promised that if there is a follow-up series in the future, he will keep a copy for Lu Ren. I have to say that Jiraiya takes great care of his loyal fans. As soon as the Shadow Avatar got the Intimacy Paradise, he read it. The relevant memory is also fed back to the body of Lu Blade. This book is really boring. It's not interesting. After sorting out the memory of the clone, Lu Ren couldn't help but secretly complained, but he had been looking forward to it for so long, but this is the result. It can only be said that people in this era are still too simple and conservative in their thinking. Jiraiya's book, if you get it in the modern society of Lu Ren's previous life, even if it is put on the internet, it will not be harmonious. It turned out to be a banned book here. Shaking his head and putting aside these messy thoughts, Ryan continued to patrol Konoha. Because Wu Yin and his party delayed a lot of time, they only went around the village for half a circle, and it was time to get off work. Get off work at 5 o'clock, there is absolutely no mandatory overtime, how good. Lu Ren thought happily. After parting with his comrades, Lu Ren did not go to the training ground for training as usual this time. Instead, he came to the central square of the village after 7 turns and 8 turns. There, a girl was already standing there with a hint of excitement and shyness. He also looked left and right from time to time, as if waiting for someone. The corner of Lu Ren's mouth couldn't help showing a smile, and his footsteps couldn't help but briskly walk straight to the girl. When did you come? Have you waited for a long time? No, I just arrived too. Lu Ren began to walk with Yuhi Hong in Konoha, and they got into pairs, envy a lot of single dogs. Especially the second generation with the surname Sarutobi, he received a 10,000-point crit mentally. But now, the poor man can only hide in a no-man's corner silently, licking his wounded heart. Who told him that he couldn't beat Lu Ren at all? After walking around Konoha with Hong, the two went to eat again, and finally went to the training ground together, sweating a lot. A happy and fulfilling day has just ended. The next day. As soon as the sky appeared a touch of fish belly white, Lu Ren on the bed was automatically awakened by the biological clock in the body, and got up numbly. He didn't talk nonsense, and immediately began to seal shadow clone technique. Boom! Another flowing blade just appeared in front of him. The most handsome guy in the world, the family will be handed over to you. Lu Ren greeted his shadow avatar, I'll go to the fog-hidden waves. Go, the most beautiful man in the world. Shadow clone nodded, don't worry at home, as long as the sky doesn't fall, I can handle everything. The vortex of divine power appeared, and the flow blade body disappeared directly in the room. Almost at the same time, wooing, outside the Shuiying building, Lu Ren quietly appeared again. Because of this extremely sky-defying space teleportation pupil technique, his arrival this time did not alarm anyone at all. Ding! A new check-in location has been detected, the location of Gifu, do you sign in? Suddenly, a familiar and cordial prompt sounded in his mind. Sign in. This is of course without any hesitation. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully signing in and getting the reward Gifu chakra. Following this sound, a small Isozuke suddenly appeared in Lu Ren's body. Shuhei, Isori, two very surprised voices suddenly sounded in Lu Ren's body. Whether it's the old resident Morizuru who has become familiar with Lu Ren after living in the body for a period of time, or the new resident Isofu who has just moved in, the moment they see each other, they are stunned. Totally don't understand the situation. Gossip seal. But that's okay, Lu Ren didn't wait for Gifu to run out of his body, so he directly put a gossip seal on himself. Isofu was directly sealed in the body. Someone came, and Wuyin reacted very quickly, but fortunately, my movements were also fast. This thought flashed through Lu Ren's mind, the vortex of divine might appeared, and the man disappeared quickly. By the time the ninjas of Kirigaken arrived, the Ryubengrun were long gone. However, Lu Ren did not immediately return to Konoha, but went to a deserted place and greeted the new resident Isofu. This tailed beast is also neatly packed. This returned Konoha. Gifu's chakra is in hand, the next target, Longdi Cave Immortal Technique. After Konoha spent a day, Lu Ren clearly sensed the location of Longdi Cave through the Flying Thunder God technique left on one snake. Then Shinwei instantly appeared in Longdi Cave to sign in. When the fairy snake in Longdi Cave was alerted and rushed over, Lu Ren had already retreated and slipped out of Longdi Cave. Except for the question mark, nothing was left for Longdi Cave. After Longdi Cave, the next sign in location is undoubtedly Cheyenne Village. Since then, Sandian Village has become the back garden of Lu Ren. The first thing Lu Ren did when he woke up every day was to go to Cheyenne Village to check in. Relying on his divine might to come and go without a trace, as well as the super sense of immortality, more than 2 months have passed, and Cheyenne Village has never found him as an uninvited guest. In the past 2 months, Lu Ren's harvest in Cheyenne Village was also very rich. These include, but are not limited to, Luo Sha's magnetic escape sand gold blood, the puppet art of Chio's mother-in-law, as well as a large number of other sand-hidden ninjutsu, secret art, and so on. Sand Yin was almost hollowed out by the flowing blade. But to be honest, Konoha was also hollowed out by the flowing blade. In such a comparison, Cheyenne's background is indeed much worse than Konoha's. No one has a say in this matter more than Lu Ren. No way, who called Konoha's ancestors awesome. In the past 2 months, Lu Ren went to work to fish for fish, made appointments after get-off work, and went to Wuyin to sign in every day. Nothing to be concerned about. Except for one thing, Uzumaki Kushina. Because Lu Ren only roughly knows the production date of Uzumaki Kushina, but he doesn't know it exactly, so in the recent period of time, he will use immortality to perceive the chakra of Uzumaki Kushina. As long as Uzumaki Kushina is secretly transferred out of Konoha village, it means that Uzumaki Kushina is about to give birth. Because Uzumaki Kushina is the main force of the Ninetales, the power of the seal on the Ninetales will be weakened on the day of production, which will pose a threat to the village. For the sake of the safety of the village, Sarutobi Hizen and other senior officials of Konoha have held a meeting to discuss, and will build a secret base outside the village for the production of Uzumaki Kushina. However, what no one knows is that the base that Sarutobi Hizen and the others thought were very secret had already been spied on clearly by Ryuin using the telescope technique. Kushina went to the base outside the village. It seems that she should give birth in the next few days. It wasn't until a few days later that Lu Ren felt that Uzumaki Kushina had moved to the production base, and his spirits began to rise. A closer look began, because this means that the prince may be born at any time, and that Guy Obito may appear at any time. Afternoon. While patrolling Konoha with his colleagues, Lu Ren used the immortal mode to pay attention to Uzumaki Kushina from time to time. The chakra of Uzumaki Kushina started to become disordered. Could it be that the prince is about to be born? Suddenly, Lu Ren's expression changed slightly, and the immortal mode began to cover the entire Konoha, as well as the surrounding area of Konoha. Uchiha Obito. Sure enough, under this perception, Lu Ren discovered his old acquaintance, Uchiha Obito, by accident. Obito was standing outside Kushina's production base at the moment, standing by a tree, looking up at the direction of the production base leisurely. Sensing that this one is coming, Lu Ren knew that the Ninetales rebellion might be happening today. He began to perceive Obito and Uzumaki Kushina incessantly. The chakra in the vortex Kushina's body began to become more and more disordered, more and more disordered. Lu Ren knew that it was almost time for him to act. Konoha, the secret production base outside the village, inside the delivery room. Kushina, come on, you'll be born soon. Sarutobi Hizen's wife, Sarutobi Bawako, is constantly cheering for Uzumaki Kushina. She and another Anbu female ninja named Tien Lu were specially responsible for delivering the birth of Uzumaki Kushina. As for Namikaze Minato, he put his hands on Uzumaki Kushina's belly, constantly strengthening the seal on the Ninetales. With the birth of Uzumaki Kushina, Minato Namikaze can clearly feel the struggle and riot of the Ninetales. If one is negligent, Kyuubi might run away. What? It really hurts. Uzumaki Kushina's cries of pain resounded through the sky. I've never heard Kushina scream so loudly. Minato Namikaze sighed with some distress. Minato, leave Kushina's delivery to us, you don't have to worry, you just need to be optimistic about the seal of the Ninetales. Tsurubi Bawako said to Namikaze Minato. Although Namikaze Minato was still worried about Uzumaki Kushina, he also knew that what Tsurubi Bawako said was right. In addition, the struggle of the Ninetales became more and more intense, and he gradually became a little bit overwhelmed. Minato Namikaze then began to concentrate on strengthening the seal. Wait until the couple is sweating profusely. Wow! A loud cry suddenly sounded. Sarutobi Bawako held a yellow-haired baby and walked in front of Kushina and Minato with a smile on his face. Minato, Kushina, Naruto is born, very healthy. Namikaze Minato and his wife were very happy, and there were even tears in Kushina's eyes. However, although I really want to hug my newborn son with my own hands, Minato Namikaze has to continue to seal the Ninetales, so Naruto can only be carried away by Lake Tsurubi Biwa. Yenshi, although it is very hard to give birth to a baby, it is necessary to restrain the Ninetales as soon as possible. Minato Namaifung clapped his hands, and wanted to start. But at this time, two screams suddenly sounded. Minato Namikaze was startled. He turned his head sharply, and found that a masked person suddenly appeared in the room. There is no doubt that it is Uchiha Obito. In Obito's hand, he was holding the newly born Naruto. As for Sarutobi Lake Biwa and Tien Lu, they were instantly killed by Obito. It makes no sense. Who is this person? How did he pass through the barrier outside? Minato Namikaze thought in surprise. His face was so serious. This masked man brought him a great sense of crisis. Obito had attacked Minato Namaifung before, but at that time his mask was the face of Baiju Ah-Fei. Later, after Ah-Fei was cut off by Lu Ren, Obito changed his mask. So Namikaze Minato didn't recognize it. Fourth Hokage, please leave Renjuli. Obito grabbed Naruto's neck with one hand, threatening Minato Namaifung, otherwise, your son's life will only be 1 minute left. Don't hurt Naruto. Minato Namikaze said nervously, please don't mess around. What? On one side, Kushina let out a painful cry again, and the Ninetales began to run around in Kushina's stomach again. Oops, the seal of the Ninetales hasn't been completed yet. Minato Namikaze's brows furrowed deeply. The seal of the Ninetales, his own son Naruto, which one is better first? But Obito didn't give Minato any chance to think about it. He said coldly to Minato, I said, leave Renzuli, do you want your son's life? After saying this, he threw Naruto up in a swish. Swish. A flash of yellow light flashed, and Minato Namikaze had used Flying Thunder God to catch Naruto. As expected of the yellow flash, but what's next? Obito gave a sinister smile and waved his right hand. Above Naruto's swaddling clothes in Namikaze Minato's hands, smoke suddenly began to rise. It turns out that this guy Obito actually put a detonating charm on Naruto's swaddling clothes when he just caught Naruto. Just now, he has ignited the detonating talisman. Swish. In order to prevent the explosion from affecting the vortex Kushina, Minato Namikaze had to use the technique of Flying Thunder God to transfer Naruto out. In the room, only Obito and Uzumaki Kushina were left. Kawarin Zuli, now, no one can save you. Obito walked directly to Uzumaki Kushina's side, and put his hand on Uzumaki Kushina's body. A vortex of space appeared, and the two were involved in it one after another and disappeared. Almost at the same moment, in another very secret place, the space vortex appeared again, spitting out Obito and Kushina. Obito used the terrain and sealing technique that he had prepared for a long time, and firmly fixed Uzumaki Kushina. Who are you and what do you want to do? The bound Uzumaki Kushina stared at Obito and asked in a deep voice. I'm going to pull out the Ninetales from your body and destroy Konoha. Obito's voice was filled with a hint of madness. Do you know how long I've been waiting for this moment? Uzumaki Kushina's expression changed greatly. But now she is a lamb to be slaughtered on the chopping block, and she has no power to change all this. Even Namikaze Minato was taken away by this masked man, so I'm afraid he won't be able to stop this man. Kushina felt a deep sense of powerlessness and despair. These eyes. You are. Ninetales and Kushina's body were also surprised when they saw Obito's Sharingan and Samsara. But at this time, Obito's eyes turned sharply, and Juwei was immediately controlled by Obito. Come out, Ninetales, come out. He began to control the Ninetales and violently hit the seal. The seal in Kushina's body was already weakened to the extreme, and Minato Namifung didn't have time to strengthen it, and was quickly shattered by the impact of the Ninetales. What? Kushina couldn't help but let out a painful exclamation. The whole body was in pain as if it had been torn apart. A large number of nine-tailed chakras began to appear on her body, just like Naruto's tailed beast coat in the future, and then the chakras continued to become richer. Inside Kushina's abdomen, a transparent, nine tails made of crimson chakra rushed out. Immediately after that, the transparent nine tails quickly began to solidify. The nine tails officially broke through the seal and rushed out of Kushina's body. The corner of Obito's mouth hidden under the mask couldn't help but evoke a cold smile. Go, just go directly to Konoha. Destroy this village, Obito ordered Kyuubi casually, and he turned around. Looking at that gesture, it's like going out with a pet. Sorry, I like this place better than Konoha. But at this moment, a cold voice suddenly rang out. Who? Obito was startled, turned around suddenly, and saw a strange ninja who appeared out of nowhere. He was standing leisurely behind him. Is it Konoha's ninja? It's not easy to find this place silently. Obito couldn't help but be surprised. With his current strength, he didn't even notice that this person appeared behind him. This person was absolutely extraordinary. Obito began to look up and down Ryoran in surprise, but saw a very young ninja in front of him. For some reason, he had never seen this person, but he felt that this person was somewhat familiar. However, this person was wearing casual clothes and no forehead protection, but he could not tell which village ninja he was from. I can only guess that the biggest possibility is Konoha. Yo, Samsara eye. Lu Ren noticed the extra eye in Obito's eye socket at a glance. But he was just a little surprised, and he didn't take it to heart. After all, he didn't have this thing. And there is only one Obito, and he has a whole pair. Who is afraid of whom? Ninja of Konoha, now you can die. Obito spit out these words from his mouth. Then he directly gave Juwei a thought. Boom boom boom. Juwei stood up to a huge body dozens of meters high, and jumped in front of Lu Ren in 3 or 2. He swung up his huge claws and slapped Lu Ren fiercely. Lu Ren stood there, without even moving. He just took off his sunglasses and looked up at Ninetales. Don't be a god. At that moment, the eyes in his pupils quickly became scarlet, and the super pupil technique was used by the gods, which instantly covered Obito's illusion and controlled the Ninetales. Ninetales' claws just stopped on Lu Ren's head. Obito on the opposite side immediately found that he had lost control of the Ninetales. Go to sleep. Lu Ren gave a casual command. Ninetales are like an obedient pet, lying on the ground without any discount. Close your eyes. Not to mention how sweet it was to sleep. During the period, no matter how Obito tried to control it, it was always unsuccessful, and he could only watch the cooked duck fly away. Impossible. It's impossible. Obito couldn't calm down. It's you again. Immediately afterwards, Obito's incomparably excited voice rang out, and at this time he finally realized where the flow blade was. At this moment, Obito couldn't help but have the urge to eat people. He pondered that he had never offended this fellow clan. Why did this person always be his enemy? From the beginning of calculating Nagato in Yuyan village, to wooing, and now, this person sticks to himself like a dog skin plaster. While Obito was angry, he really couldn't understand it. Why are you always against me? Who the hell are you? Obito stared at Lu Ren with such a low voice. Would you believe it if I said I wasn't against you, just a coincidence? Lu Ren thought about it for a while, and said to Obito seriously. He really didn't lie, the first two were indeed pure coincidences, 100%. As for this time, Obito's Ninetales rebellion plan happened to create an opportunity for Rairin to generate a sign in location, and Rairin took advantage of the opportunity to catch Obito's ride. But it's not a 100% coincidence, and it can be considered that Rairin used Obito. After all, Lu Ren didn't want to generate a check in location in Konoha village, and he didn't want to cause chaos in Konoha. It takes half an hour to generate a check in location anyway, which is not suitable for Konoha. He couldn't just guard the Ninetales and fight the whole Konoha for half an hour, right? And the place where Obito chose to release the Ninetales, outside Konoha village, was secret enough that it was tailor-made for Rairin. Lu Ren also smiled bluntly. Do you think I'll believe your nonsense? Obito was furious. Could this person think of himself as a fool? It just so happens that the new accounts and the old accounts are calculated together. Now I am not afraid of you. A bright light flashed in Obito's eyes. Just because you have an extra reincarnation eye, Lu Ren said indifferently. How can you possibly know what kind of power the samsara eye has? Obito snorted coldly, and he stretched out his hand directly to Lu Ren, Wanxiang Tianyan. A suction force suddenly appeared, shrouded towards the flowing blade. How could the flow blade be hit? Swish! A flying thunder god of Lu Ren flashed directly behind Obito, and when his mind moved, Lei Dun chakra filled the air, Chiandoryu. Crackle crackle! A power grid fell from the sky and slashed towards Obito. Obito turned around unhurriedly, letting the lightning penetrate his body, and glanced at Lu Ren. Save it, this kind of trick is useless to me. Lu Ren shrugged and put away Chidori-Lu. So it's so boring for the two of us to fight back and forth. Anyway, we can't really kill each other. If Obito has no reincarnation eye, the Chidori style of Ryuin will indeed pose a certain threat to Obito. With Liurin's current methods, there are fairy spells and tailed beast's chakra as a base, and it is not a problem to chop for a few minutes in a row. But now Obito has Samsara Eye, which can completely absorb all these energies. If it is a physical attack, the opponent can also reject it. As for using other gods to control Obito, Obito himself is a member of the Uchiha clan, and he once fell into the Rukin Tsukiyomi, so he has always been on guard against the Rukin. Don't look straight into Lu Ren's eyes at all, and don't give Lu Ren a chance. Of course, Lu Ren's absolute strength is now stronger than Obito's, and his methods are much more than Obito's, and it may not be impossible to kill Obito. There will always be opportunities in the fight. Just some trouble. However, Lu Ren was not determined to kill Obito. After all, Obito had never provoked him, but this time, he had calculated Obito. Would you like to find an opportunity to tell Obito the truth? Can it be considered as compensation for this calculation? Such a thought even flashed through Lu Ren's mind. Obito couldn't refute the words of Lu Ren. Lu Ren has two kinds of open-level ninjutsu, Shenwei and Fei Lei Shen at the same time. As long as he wants to leave, who can keep it? Even if he has the Eye of Reincarnation now, it is difficult to do it. Moreover, Obito had just transplanted the Samsara eye not long ago. In fact, he has not fully adapted to this eye. He is far less relaxed than it seems on the surface. Hateful, Obito exclaimed dejectedly in his heart, again and again, is there really nothing he can do about this guy? No reason, Ah-Fei hasn't recovered yet, so he can't use Mu-Dun. I'm still a little emboldened to deal with this person alone. Obito thought to himself a little unwillingly. Ah-Fei did not die after Obito's timely treatment, but he has not fully recovered yet. There's not much fighting power other than having a renewed interest in poop. There is still a long way to go before Ah-Fei can regain his former glory. But, fortunately, I was prepared and called that guy. Obito thought again in his heart. Swish, another figure flashed by, but after Nika's Minato settled Naruto, he teleported here using the technique of Flying Thunder God. He has long left the mark of the God of Thunder on Uzumaki Kushina, so it is not difficult to find this place. Chapter 71. After Namikaze Minato quickly glanced at the scene, he couldn't help being a little dumbfounded. The scene was completely unexpected to him. The first thing that caught his eye was not Uzumaki Kushina, nor the masked man who captured Uzumaki Kushina before. It's Kyuubi. After all, the size of the Ninetales is really too huge, and it is naturally the most eye-catching. This is Ninetales. Ninetales came out. Namikaze Minato first subconsciously tightened the chrysanthemum, but soon realized that something was wrong, and even said that it was a little weird. Ninetales actually lay on the ground and slept. Immediately after, Minato Namikaze's gaze involuntarily fell on the two people facing each other beside Kyuubi. His brows could not help but wrinkle slightly, and he became more and more confused about the situation. Besides the masked man, why was there another person? And the two are still in a tit-for-tat attitude. These thoughts flashed through Minato Namikaze's mind. After he had a general idea of the situation at the scene, he immediately began to look for the figure of Uzumaki Kushina. It was soon discovered that Uzumaki Kushina was lying weakly on a stone. Kushina. Namikaze Minato felt nervous in his heart, and hurriedly launched the Shunshu technique and flew away, appearing beside Uzumaki Kushina. He helped Uzumaki Kushina up. Watergate. Uzumaki Jushinai was extremely weak and authentic. Although she is not dead now, she is already dying, half dead. I'm afraid it won't be long before I really die. Don't talk, Kushina. Namikaze Minato hugged Uzumaki Kushina in distress, and then a Flying Thunder God technique, the person disappeared immediately. Swish. The next moment, Minato Namikaze appeared in Konoha Hospital with Uzumaki Kushina in his arms, and rushed towards the ward in a hurry. Lord Hokage, Lord Kushina. The hospital was quickly alerted, and Minato Namikaze didn't have time to wait for the medical ninja to come out, because the situation was urgent. He directly handed Uzumaki Kushina to a medical ninja's assistant. He hurriedly explained. Jushina has been seriously injured, and the Ninetales in her body have escaped. Please do your best to treat it. Please. Swish. After saying this, Minato Namikaze used the technique of Flying Thunder God to appear in the former president's office. It was too late to say hello, and slammed into the door. Watergate. Sandaime was smoking a dry cigarette and looking at a document, and when he saw Minato Namimo suddenly came, his expression suddenly became dignified. Today is the day when Uzumaki Kushina gave birth. It is so important to Minato Namikaze, how could he come here? Is it? Sarutobi Hizen's heart skipped a beat. Could it be that something was wrong with Kuo? 3 generations of eyes, someone is trying to get in the way, and the Ninetales have already run away, just at the production base outside the village. Namikaze Minato said to Sarutobi Hizen with a hurried look. Nani, actually, an accident really happened. Sarutobi Hizen was shocked, and his brows suddenly wrinkled into an old chrysanthemum that bloomed in late autumn. That is the Ninetales, the strongest of the 9-tailed beasts, and will cause extremely serious damage to the village. Swish. After reporting the situation to Hizen Sarutobi, Minato Namikaze didn't have time to wait for any instructions, and once again used the Flying Thunder God technique to disappear. Outside Konoha village, near the production base, next to Kuo. Bang bang bang, jingle jingle, the two figures, you come and go, are entangled with each other fiercely. Obito and Uchiha Ryuban both held a ninja tool in their hands, and they fought so hard that they were indistinguishable. When In the fierce confrontation, Lu Ren's Kunwu and Obito's Kunwu collided fiercely, and a spark burst out. At this moment, Obito's body is materialized. Amaterasu. Rairin used this super powerful pupil technique on Obito. Base. Obito's body suddenly rose up with a mass of black flames. Back in Yuyan village, Lu Ren used this trick to beat Obito into a mess. If a fray hadn't blocked the disaster for Obito, Obito would have died. But now faced with this trick again, Obito was unhurried and unspeakably calm. Shen Luo Tianzheng. A repulsive force appeared in an instant, and the black flame was blasted away at once. Amaterasu, which had no solution for Obito, was instantly relieved. Divine power. This was not beyond Lu Ren's expectations at all. He took advantage of Obito to use his Samsara Eye to bounce the sky, and once again used his long-range divine power against Obito. It's just a pity that this big move, which once taught Obito a profound lesson, is no longer effective for Obito. Obito instantly entered a virtual state. The space cutting of the long-range Shinwei cannot be completed in an instant, refer to when Kakashi cut Deidara's arm. Even if the spell has been activated, it will still have a certain effect time. Of course, Kakashi didn't fully control the riding wheel at that time, which was a very important reason. But the cutting of long-range divine power is also a kind of cutting in the final analysis. It does require a process. As the owner of this pupil technique, Lu Ren has the most say. The cutting speed of his long-range divine power is far faster than Kakashi, but it is still incomparable to the sudden appearance of Amaterasu. In addition, Obito had already passed the trick of the flow blade in the village of Fog Hidden, and he already had the heart of defense. So when he felt the fluctuations in the surrounding space, he immediately entered the blur. Long-range Shinwei can no longer hurt Obito now. Seeing that the tricks that once threatened him one after another no longer worked, Obito couldn't help showing a smug look on his face. Your tricks are useless to me. Really? Lu Ren's brows were raised, but he didn't feel discouraged. How do you know that I don't have any other moves? The smile on Obito's face froze slightly. He and Lu Ren have faced each other more than once or twice. Every time Lu Ren is lighthearted and skillful, he will give him unexpected surprises every time. Obito never knew how many skills Lu Ren had. Although the ability that Lu Ren has now is very shocking, far beyond the normal scope of ordinary people, if Lu Ren comes up with some new tricks again, Obito will not be surprised. Therefore he did not dare to be careless. No matter how many tricks you have, it's useless. Obito sneered. Even if Lu Ren really had other tricks, how could Shinwei and Samsara Eye be vegetarians? If it wasn't that Ah-Fei was half dead now, he wouldn't be afraid even if Lu Ren had more tricks. Swish. The figure flickered, but it was Minato, who had already settled in Uzumaki Kushina and reported the emergency, and used the Flying Thunder God technique to rush over again. The appearance of Namikaze Minato, neither Rukin nor Obito paid much attention to it. Obito didn't care about Minato Namikaze at all, and Uchiha Rukin didn't plan what to do with Minato Namikaze from the very beginning. His purpose was to just let Ninetales lie on the ground quietly for half an hour. As long as Minato Namikaze doesn't get in his way, Ryuben will not attack Minato Namikaze. As for Namikaze Minato, he didn't rashly attack Rukin and Obito for the time being. No matter who these two are and what their purpose is, it is not the most critical at present. The most important thing is the Ninetales. And for some reason, the two are fighting each other, which is a good thing for Namikaze Minato. It gave Minato Namikaze the opportunity to use the Flying Thunder God to divert the Ninetales away. But this opportunity is not now. Because Namikaze Minato still had no idea what was going on in front of him. He didn't know why Ninetales suddenly lay on the ground and fell asleep. He could only guess that someone controlled Ninetales with the illusion of Sharingan. It's easy to use the Flying Thunder God to transfer the Ninetales away, but what's next? As long as either of these two people comes out to destroy, or even just control the Ninetales rampage, the operation of Namikaze Minato will fail. At that time, if the rescue cannot be achieved, the village may be greatly damaged. So Namikaze Minato had to wait for Hiruzen Sarutobi to bring people over to support him. The best case would be to take them down directly, and it was over. Even if the situation changes, you can use the Flying Thunder God to transfer the Ninetales at any time. 4th generation, the Ninetales are still useful to me at present. I advise you not to make any crooked ideas, such as quietly transferring the Ninetales away. But, if you just want to get back a part of the Nine-tailed chakra to save your wife's life, I can totally understand it, and I won't mind. I think. You wouldn't mind, would you, Uchiha Obito? Lu Ren directly pierced Obito's identity. Hateful. Obito couldn't help cursing, and the face behind the mask suddenly looked ugly as if he had eaten shong. Last time in Kurigakura, his true face was exposed in front of the Uchiha family of Ryoran, and he was worried that the other party would recognize his identity. Sure enough, it really happened. You are Obito. Namaifung Minato was shocked when he heard this. Wasn't Obito already dead? But then, Obito took off his mask. Since the identity has been seen through, there is nothing to disguise with tutu. Namikaze Minato couldn't believe his eyes, because that masked man was actually his student, Uchiha Obito. Obito, it's really you. Minato Namikaze blurted out in shock, are you still alive? How did you become like this? Obito's identity has been exposed, and it will be a little troublesome now. In the dense forest on one side, black and white emerged from a tree, and Baiju said. It's a little troublesome, but it's actually nothing. Heiju's face was calm. The ninja world has always been a place where strength is king. With Obito's current strength, what if others know his true identity? Anyway, that ninja named Lin died, and her grandmother was gone, so Obito was no longer fettered. And without fetters, there is no weakness. The only effect is that Obito will no longer be able to act in Madara Uchiha's name. But this is actually irrelevant. What a boring question, what if I know it? Teacher. In the face of Minato Namikaze's question, Obito didn't show any expression on his face. Anyway, this world is irrelevant. He wants to create a truly perfect world in the end, so what is the importance of everything in this rotten world? Obito doesn't care anymore. Seeing Obito's appearance, Neifung Minato was puzzled and heartbroken. In his memory, Obito was an innocent, optimistic and kind-hearted person. There must have been some serious pain that made him like this. Although I would like to know what happened to Obito and what happened, now is not the time. The other guy who was fighting with Obito reminded Minato Namikaze that it would be a bit risky to move the Ninetales away now, but taking the Ninetales chakra and rescuing Kushina can try. Namikaze Minato ignored Uchiha Obito and took out a scroll. At the same time, he also began to prepare some sealing materials, which were distributed around the Ninetales. Obito just glanced at Minato's movements lightly, and then withdrew his gaze, ignoring it at all. Nothing to stop it. Now for Obito, the biggest enemy is Ryuan, and Uzumaki Kushina's life doesn't matter, it doesn't matter if he dies or lives. As long as Lu Ren is defeated, he will be able to regain control of the Ninetales before he can carry out his plan. Whoosh! Holding a kunai tightly in Obito's hand, he launched the Shunshu technique and rushed to Ryuan again. The same is true for the flow blade. The two figures collided so fiercely and intertwined. Minato Namikaze was busy sealing part of the Ninetales chakra while watching the two uninvited guests who were fighting with extreme vigilance. In case of any change, one of the two came out to stop himself. Fortunately, these two have been fighting on their own for a long time, ignoring what Namikaze Minato is doing. It was not until Minato Namikaze successfully sealed part of the nine-tailed chakra into the scroll that he breathed a sigh of relief. Swish! Fei Lei Shen used it, and the Namikaze Minato disappeared directly. The next moment, the figure of Minato Namaifung suddenly appeared in the hospital ward. Several medical ninjas were all around Uzumaki Kushina, sweating profusely using medical ninjutsu to treat Uzumaki Kushina. But it is conceivable that it does not work at all. If only Tsunade-sama were here. We are really useless, there is no way to do it. Several medical ninjas were embarrassed and anxious and remorseful, sweat dripping from their foreheads. Thank you for your hard work. Minato Namiko walked over at this time. Next, leave it to me. Lord Hokage. Several medical ninjas are very surprised and puzzled. Lord Kushina can't even do anything about them. Is there a way for Lord Minato? However, they still obeyed Minato Namikaze's orders, stepped aside, and handed the Vortex Kushina to Minato Namikaze. Minato Namikaze took out the scroll, took out the group of nine-tailed chakra, and sealed it into the body of Uzumaki Kushina. The other side, Lu Ren and Obito are still fighting fiercely. Jingle. During the fierce battle, the ninja tools of Obito and Ryublade collided fiercely again. This was also a very rare moment when Obito materialized. Boom. The ground behind Obito was suddenly broken open, and a shadow clone that Lu Ren had been ambushed there for a long time suddenly stretched out his hand and grabbed Obito's feet. The technique of decapitation in the heart. The shadow clone drank lightly. Obito clearly remembers this move. It was through this move that Lu Ren buried Minato Namaifeng in the soil. But now, this trick is completely ineffective for Obito. Shen Luo Tianzhong. As soon as he thought about it, the power of the heavens unleashed, a powerful repulsive force appeared, and the shadow clone of the flowing blade was bounced away directly. That incomparable power even knocked the ground into a big pit. Undoubtedly, the decapitation technique in his heart was also interrupted abruptly, and it did not play any role. Boom. The shadow clone that was bombed with soil turned into a cloud of blue smoke in the air and dissipated. This kind of trick just wants to deal with me. Do you underestimate me too much? Obito was a little disdainful, and at the same time snorted coldly to Lu Ren. What a joke to use against him with such low-level tricks. Will he be as incompetent as his own teacher? Lu Ren just sneered, but he didn't say much nonsense. He naturally wouldn't expect the mere beheading technique to be able to deal with Obito. After all, Obito is not an ordinary person, so what if he buried the other party in the soil? Even if his hands cannot seal, even if his body is imprisoned, he can still use the pupil technique. Meaningless. Lu Ren just used the decapitation technique in his heart as a cover, but he actually left a flying thunder god technique on Obito's body. And it has worked. The moment his shadow clone came into contact with the body of Obito, this technique was left behind. And once this spell is left, it is the beginning of Obito's failure. Jingle jingle. Lu Ren and Obito were still in a fierce confrontation. When he grabbed the moment of Obito's materialization, the shadow clone, a flying thunder god technique, instantly appeared beside Obito. Holding Kuwu, he stabbed Obito fiercely. Shen Luo Tianzhong. But Obito seemed to have anticipated this scene early. A repulsive force appeared, and the shadow clone was directly bounced off. Have you been prepared, Obito? You've grown more than before. Lu Ren said with a little surprise. It seems that Obito has long known about his trick. Your previous shadow clone left a spell on me. Do you really think I don't know? Obito sneered. You really underestimate me. If he didn't know that Lu Ren had Flying Thunder God, he probably wouldn't doubt the opponent's decapitation technique at all. But Obito already knew that the other party had this technique. After the body was touched by the other party, how could he not be vigilant and check? It can only be said that the strength of Lu Ren is still too strong. Obito has always avoided physical contact with the opponent, but he was finally hit. But even so, Obito didn't really take it to heart. What if you got hit? He has divine power and reincarnation eyes, and it is not so easy for the other party to hurt himself through Flying Thunder God. Bang bang bang. The two fought fiercely again, and then bounced off with a fierce collision. Chi chi chi. At this moment, countless thin needles suddenly appeared in the sky, and they began to shoot at the flowing blade like raindrops. The thin needles were so dense that it looked like a black cloud was floating over suddenly. In the blink of an eye, it was like a dark cloud, covering Lu Ren's forehead. Magnetic sand iron. Is this the red sand scorpion? At this moment, a flash of surprise flashed in Lu Ren's eyes. These countless fine needles are magnetic sand and iron. As he has mastered the magnetic escape gold, it is impossible to admit wrong. So who else in the ninja world might use the magnetic sand iron? Only the red sand scorpion. It's just that when did this guy get together with Obito? These thoughts just flashed in Lu Ren's mind, and there is no time for Lu Ren to investigate it carefully at this moment. A very playful smile flashed in his eyes, and when his mind moved, magnetic Dungeness gold directly used it. A mass of golden sand suddenly condensed and blocked the top of Lu Ren's head. Chi chi chi. All the fine needles of sand and iron were all defended by the flowing blade with gold sand. Nani. Magnetic escape gold dust. Obito almost glared out his own writing wheel eye and samsara eye together. He couldn't believe his eyes. Sure enough, he knew that the guy in front of him did give him another surprise. It's just that he never thought of it, and he couldn't believe it anyway. How could Luo Sha's magnetic escape? This is impossible. Another very old voice rang out, and at the same time, a ninja with a hunchback suddenly jumped out using the telekinesis technique. The sound is full of wonder and shock. This person is the Scorpion of Red Sand, the partner of this operation to destroy Konoha with soil. On the side of the Red Sand Scorpion, there is a person floating in the air. It is the puppet of the 3 generations of Wind Shadow people. In view of the huge threat posed by the flowing edge, and the fact that Fray did not recover as planned, even if the Samsara eye was transplanted, Obito was still worried. After all, although the reincarnation eye is strong, Obito has not fully grasped and adapted to it, and it is not the original owner's eye after all. So Obito thought of looking for a partner, and after the information of Baiju, who spread all over the ninja world, Obito chose the Red Sand Scorpion as the target. There is no other reason. The Red Sand Scorpion can break the divine power of the flowing blade. Whether it is his puppet mechanism or the magnetic sand iron, it can continuously attack the flowing blade for more than 5 minutes in a large area. As long as Obito pays attention to taking away the flying thunder god Kuwu of Rukin in advance, it will be fine. Therefore, during the entire battle with Rairin, Obito took away Rairin's Fei Lei Shen Kuwuquan, intentionally or unintentionally. The reason is that when the Red Sand Scorpion launches an attack, it doesn't give the flowing blade a chance to teleport to it. And the Scorpion of Red Sand has been wandering in the ninja world these years, looking for some very special ninjas to make puppets, and Lu Ren is undoubtedly the most perfect object. So Obito and the Scorpion of Red Sand reached a cooperation so happily. When Obito created an opportunity for the Red Sand Scorpion would hide in the dark and launch a thunderous strike on the flowing blade. Under the immunity of the opponent's illusion, Amaterasu, long-range supernatural power, etc., the opponent's supernatural power is destroyed in one fell swoop. However, the ideal is beautiful, but the reality is skinny. Obito can't even count it, and Lu Ren can even magnetically escape. Why do you also magnetically escape? The Red Sand Scorpion covered his mouth and nose with a black cloth, leaving only a pair of eyes, and his voice was hoarse like an old man. However, Lu Ren knew that this body was actually the puppet of the Red Sand Scorpion, Fei Liuhu, and the Red Sand Scorpion himself was actually hidden in the body of Fei Liuhu. Of course, the Red Sand Scorpion himself has long since become a puppet, so it goes without saying. Luo Sha taught me, flowing blade is serious and authentic. Strictly speaking, he is not actually lying. Isn't his magnetic escape learned from Luo Sha through the system? Obito, you were right. If this person is made into a puppet, it will be the most perfect artwork in the world. The Red Sand Scorpion ignored the tricks of Rairin, but said to Obito on the side. Hurry and hide to the side, don't expose to this person's sight, it's very dangerous. Obito reminded the Red Sand Scorpion with a serious face. He, Obito, you are too alarmist. The Red Sand Scorpion sneered, stopped talking nonsense, and continued to control the sky and launched a fierce attack on the flowing blade. However, it was useless, and it was all blocked by the gold dust defense of the flowing blade. Not only that, divine power. Click. The body of the Red Sand Scorpion, the body of the Scorpion, was directly cut in half by the flowing blade. Baga. This idiot an idiot, I have reminded him. He still jumped out somehow, it's really courting death. Obito on one side jumped up and down, and couldn't help but curse. This Red Sand Scorpion is really a pig teammate, not reliable at all. Thanks to such a powerful trump card, he was killed without playing an important role. Click. But what Obito didn't expect was that at this moment, the corpse of the Red Sand Scorpion exploded directly, and a person came out of it. No, more precisely, a child. Obito was stunned for a moment, and then he realized that the Red Sand Scorpion he had been in contact with was just a puppet. The true body of the Red Sand Scorpion has always been hidden in the puppet. It's just, how is the Red Sand Scorpion a child? Age doesn't really matter, All kinds of questions flashed through Obito's mind, but now, it's not the time to investigate them in detail. Swish swish. As soon as the true body of the Red Sand Scorpion was revealed, several puppets were immediately summoned to surround him. His heart was horrified. What happened just now? His pupil technique. It's terrible. If the Red Sand Scorpion had sweat glands, it would definitely break out in cold sweat. Before Obito said how terrible this person is, it seems that there is no exaggeration at all. I want to see how strong your magnetic dungeons are. The red sand scorpion followed with a cold snort, and the chakra lines lit up on the 10 fingers of both hands, controlling the 3 generations of Fengyin Ren puppets, and continued to shoot thin needles all over the sky at Lu Ren. Magic versus magnetic. Exactly what I want. Lu Ren slapped his hands and controlled a piece of sand to block it in front of him. At the same time, he also condensed a piece of gold dust needles and shot at the red sand scorpion. To this extent, the red sand scorpion was startled again. This man's magnetic escape seems to be even more powerful than Luo Sha. In the face of the boundless gold dust drizzle, the red sand scorpion did not dare to neglect, and immediately condensed a burst of sand to block in front of him. However, the crimson sand scorpion's cultivation base is not as good as the flow blade after all. The flow blade can complete the control in an instant, blocking the fine needles of the red sand scorpion, but if the positions are reversed, the red sand scorpion can't do the same as the flow blade. His sand defense has not yet been fully formed, and when it is still riddled with holes, there are already many fine gold needles pierced. The red sand scorpion hastily controlled another puppet to block in front of him. Dang dang dang. In an instant, the puppet was shot into a hornet's nest, and it was completely tattered. Whizzing. Taking advantage of the opportunity that the puppet gave him, the scorpion of red sand used several instant body techniques in succession, and it was considered that he completely avoided the attack of the flowing blade. In the first head-to-head confrontation, the red sand scorpion can be said to be a complete defeat. Don't fight him head-on. You must find an opportunity to help me. He can't be dealt with alone. Obito shouted to the red sand scorpion. This is the experience he has gained through many lessons. Shut up. The scorpion of the red sand is also an arrogant person. When he gets Obito's finger, he shouted angrily at Obito. How could this guy know about Lao Tzu's methods? It's too earthy. The red sand scorpion is really a pig teammate. This person is so strong that even he is not sure to deal with it. Scorpion is really too conceited. Boom boom boom. At this time, the boundless gold dust was surging, forming several big hands, and grabbed it directly at the red sand scorpion. The puppet attacks of the red sand scorpion are simply a joke in front of this magnetic escape. And he himself, under the attack of the big gold duster, dodged left and right, and hurriedly controlled the 3 generations of Kisame to counterattack, with little success. His magnetic escape is not his own, it is launched through the puppet, and it is really far worse than the flowing blade. Seeing this, Obito shook his head. Without saying anything nasty, he directly carried Kuwu and charged towards Lu Ren. Those big gold dust hands are completely illusory to him and have no effect at all. Divine power was used in a virtual form, and in the sky of gold dust, he rushed straight into the front of Lu Ren. Jingle jingle. The sound of the ninja fighting against each other sounded, and the pressure on the red sand scorpion just dropped sharply. And his arrogance has also been worn away a lot. Although the red sand scorpion didn't want to admit it, he had to admit that even if he still had a lot of means, he wouldn't be able to play a big role in the face of the opponent's magnetic escape. Even if it is his ultimate trump card, those 4 scrolls, whether it is a powerful Huo Dun scroll, an upgraded version of the Melting Dun plus Huo Dun scroll, or 100 machine maneuvers, are still thin in front of the opponent's magnetic escape. As for the 4th scroll, the red sand scorpion thought that the opponent would never be able to deal with it, but the price paid was too great, and the red sand scorpion didn't want to use it. For today's plan, we really have to cooperate with Obito. Thinking of this, the scorpion of the red sand made a fuss, leaving behind a few puppet halls, and flew away in the puppet of the 3 generations of Fengyin Ren himself. Hidden in the jungle on the side. That guy is really unreliable. Obito, who was fighting with Reincarnation, saw this scene and couldn't help but complain again. It's a shame this guy had a terrific tone before, but that's what happened. It's no use. After showing one side, he was beaten and ran away. Obito had to deal with the flow blade alone. The scorpion of red sand continued to hide, while watching the battle, thinking about how to deal with the flowing blade. Whoosh whoosh. Obito and Reincarnation fought for a while, and there were powerful auras around them. However, several Konoha ninjas rushed over using the Shunshu technique, and were distributed around Reincarnation and Obito. That's Ninetales. An old voice sounded, and Hiruzen Sarutobi stood on top of a large stone, swept the scene to the bottom of his eyes, and his face was extremely dignified. Minato is right, it's really two people from Uchiha fighting, and they seem to be very strong. On another big rock not far from Sarutobi Hizen, was Jiraiya with white hair and a rare serious face. Because of the needs of the battle, Lu Ren has completely thrown away the sunglasses on his face, exposing his pair of riding wheel eyes in front of everyone without reservation. One of them seems to be Uchiha Obito, the kid who died at Kanobi Bridge not long ago, so who is the other? Chu Daodingzo among the pigs, deer and butterflies also said in a deep voice. In order to prevent the Ninetales from running away, when the time comes to suppress, Chu Daodingzo also came here together. His doubling technique will play a major role in dealing with the Ninetales. What's the matter with the gold dust all over the ground? It seems to be Luo Sha's magnetic escape gold. The Oil Girl Jiwei of the Oil Girl clan also came, and their family's secret insect control technique could also have a miraculous effect on suppressing the Ninetales. These people heard the call of the third generation, saying that someone stole the Ninetales, and they dared to neglect, and rushed over immediately. But he didn't think about the scene in front of him, there was a strangeness everywhere. In addition to the top powerhouses of these Konoha, there are many other members of the Root and Anbu, needless to say. The lineup that Konoha dispatched for Kuo this time can be said to be very luxurious. As for the Uchiha family, they wanted to do something for Konoha, but they were rejected by Sarutobi Hizao. The attitudes of other high-level leaders, including leaders of various departments and Hokage consultants, are all high. There is no other reason, the person who attacked Kushina this time is from Uchiha. The senior officials of Konoha couldn't trust the Uchiha clan in this matter. Who knows if this is a conspiracy of the Uchiha clan? In fact, in this matter, the senior officials of Konoha do have reasons to doubt the Uchiha family. After all, the mastermind is from Uchiha. According to logical analysis, the Uchiha family is indeed suspicious. What's more, the Uchiha clan also has sufficient motives to do so, to control the Ninetales, to revolutionize the rebellion. Not only were the Uchiha clan not allowed to participate in this operation, they were also secretly monitored by the village. Jingle jingle. Although Konoha came with so many people, Lu Ren and Obito didn't pay much attention to it. As if invisible, they fight on their own accord. Swish. Until Namikaze Minato came back with Fei Lei Shen and appeared beside Sarutobi Hizen and them. Minato, how is Kushina? Sarutobi Hizen asked casually. Thank goodness, Kushina is all right. Minato Namikaze rejoiced, and couldn't help but glance at Lu Ren. Whether this person was intentional or unintentional, he was indeed reminded by this person that he saved Kushina's life. It's fine. Jiraiya also answered, since the Ninetales are lying quietly, then Minato, you can use the Flying Thunder God to transfer the Ninetales away, the two of them, leave it to us. Got it, Teacher Jiraiya. Namikaze Minato responded, even if he didn't say it, he planned to do it. Konoha's ninja is here, can we still fight? The moment Namikaze Minato appeared, Rairin immediately stopped his hand. Obito also stopped his hand. He glanced coldly at the Konoha ninja around him, but did not speak. But the attitude has already said it all. Although he and Rairin are hostile, they are consistent in the matter of facing the Ninetales, that is, the Konoha ninja must not take the Ninetales away. So, that is to say, we can temporarily turn enemies into friends and jointly stop these Konoha ninjas. Lu Jian's face couldn't help but feel a little weird. The two who were beaten to death just now, are they going to be friends in a blink of an eye? Life is so strange. Namikaze Minato will definitely use Fei Lei Shen to move the Ninetales away, can you stop him? When Obito saw Minato Namikaze reappearing, he stared at Rairin seriously and asked. Are you asking for me? Lu Ren couldn't help shrugging. Don't think I can't see it, you actually need the Ninetales more than me, right? Obito snorted coldly. The situation was urgent, and Lu Ren didn't say any more nonsense. With a thought, he slammed his hands on the ground. Magnetic escape gold. The surrounding earth suddenly began to sway with a layer of incomparably thick power, and a cloud of golden sand suddenly appeared around the Ninetales. It then spreads rapidly, creating a circular lid. The incomparably huge body of the Ninetales was shrouded in the golden cover. Magnetic. It's really a magnetite. This Uchiha man can still magnetize. Sarutobi Hishin almost glared his eyes out, his face was full of surprise. Uchiha people are proficient in magnetic escape gold, this is too exaggerated. Could it be that this Uchiha man has a very close relationship with Luo Sha? Not only Sarutobi Hishin, but also the Konoha ninjas such as Jiraiya and Akita Dingzo were too shocked to speak. Nani? Namikaze Minato's expression was quite wonderful. He had just finished discussing with Jiraiya, and decided to use the Flying Thunder God to transfer the Ninetales away, but he was slapped in the face. Before they had time to act, the Ninetales were sealed up by others using the magnetic escape. Don't worry about the Ninetales for now, just take down these two people. Sarutobi Hishin made a decision, as if giving orders, these two people are the key. If these two Uchihas are defeated, the Ninetales will naturally not need to move. On the contrary, even if they transfer the Ninetales away, if they can't stop these two, the Ninetales will be taken away again. Meaningless. Of course, in the eyes of the Konoha ninjas, the latter situation is extremely unlikely. If Konoha dispatched so many people and still can't win these two Uchihas, these high-level executives can go to hang themselves collectively. The teacher is right, let's arrest these two people first. Zilai also nodded in response, and then jumped straight down. 3 generations, I'm going to help the teacher. You and everyone are in charge of the raid. Once there is an accident and the Ninetales riot, it's up to you. Namikaze Minato also stood up. Wait a minute, Sandemu called out Minato Namikaze, if the Ninetales really go wild, you are more useful than me, so I and Jiraiya should also deal with them. The two masters and apprentices began to walk towards Reincarnation and Obito with solemn expressions. Hishin Sarutobi, Jiraiya, you really look down on us. Obito glanced at the two of Sarutobi Hishin who came over, and could not help but let out a cold snort, with a hint of teasing. When he was in Konoha, these two people were absolutely high-ranking people in Konoha, and they were big figures for Obito. But now, Obito doesn't look down on these two at all. One by one, Lu Ren shrugged at Obito, and his expression was calm as usual. Hehe, when did I say that I want to fight with you? Obito sneered. At the same time, a circle of space vortex appeared in his riding wheel eye, which directly sucked Obito into it. Obito's figure just disappeared in plain sight. That's time and space pupil technique. All the Konoha ninjas were slightly startled, and their expressions became very solemn. This kind of pupil technique is too advanced, and it is far more difficult to deal with than ordinary pupil techniques. Uchiha Obito, this guy, is dangerous in everyone's eyes. No wonder, Obito used this space pupil technique to pass through the barrier and kidnapped Kushina. The wave of water wind Minato, who was swept by the array, finally came to a realization at this moment. Flow Blade. Obito, you really don't pay attention. Let's have fun together. This guy actually slipped first. However, Obito can be considered to have really pinpointed the weakness of Lu Ren, and Lu Ren really needs Ninetales more than Obito at this moment. Run away. Jiraiya was stunned for a moment, then turned his head and said to Sarutobi Hishin who was walking with him, Teacher, let me deal with him first. Sarutobi Hishin nodded without making any excuses. As one of the 3 ninjas, Jiraiya is powerful, and it should not be a problem to deal with a Uchiha, even a perverted Uchiha. What's more, he was watching the scene himself. Jiraiya, I'm not in the mood to play with you right now. Lu Ren said expressionlessly, and then his mind moved, and the whole person directly entered the immortal mode of Miaomu Mountain. No way, there are too many immortal arts, so I don't specifically point them out. Everyone doesn't know which one is used by Lu Ren. It rains when gold dust. Chi chi chi. A large piece of fine gold dust needles condensed out in an instant, and shot towards Jiraiya with incomparably dense and incomparably fast speed. Whoosh whoosh. Jiraiya, this guy is really good, both in terms of reaction speed and various tricks, he is much stronger than the average ninja. Even just relying on the instant body technique, he completely avoided the flow blade magnetic escape alluvial gold. However, that's all. Lu Ren's magnetic Dungeness gold is the magnetic Dungeness gold in immortal mode, and its power is much stronger than Luo Sha, and even if it is difficult to avoid it, Zilai also cannot avoid it. Almost all the energy is spent on this, and there is no time to take care of other things. Magnetic escape with such power. It's amazing. Even Luo Sha can't reach this level. Sarutobi Hizen's expression on the side was extremely solemn. The 3 battles Konoha and Sandian had just finished, and he couldn't be more clear about Luosha's level. But even Luosha's fine gold needles are far less than this person's fine gold needles. That is, at this level of Jiraiya, he can deal with it in an orderly manner. If he changed to a normal ninja, he would have been stabbed into a hedgehog long ago. After all, the speed of this thing is too fast, and it is dazzlingly fast. If you want to form a seal, it is simply whimsical, and you can only use physical techniques to avoid it. Swish. But Lu Ren's attack was far more than that. When he used the fine gold needle to force Jiraiya to retreat, another of his shadow clones also appeared behind Jiraiya using the telekinesis technique. The blinking technique in the immortal mode is also jaw-droppingly fast. Be careful too. Sarutobi Hizen let out an exclamation from the side, his hands quickly formed a seal, and slammed, "Tu dun tu lu da." Behind Jiraiya's shadow avatar, the mud suddenly turned into a liquid, and it quickly flowed to one side. The shadow clone of the flowing blade suddenly staggered. If it is an attack in the general sense, whether it is the throwing of ninja tools, some ninjutsu with fire escape, water escape or other energy attacks, this staggering will definitely miss. Jiraiya didn't stand on the spot and let you fight. In this flash of lightning, it was not even the slightest difference, and if it was a little bit off, Jiraiya was directly dodged. After all, Jiraiya is currently moving at super high speed. However, the Ryu blade of the shadow clone is using a range attack Chidori Ryu. A crackle, no need to seal. Even if the body is crooked a little, it is affected to some extent, and there are some deviations, it does not matter. Crackle. A power grid fell from the sky, it was so beautiful, and at the same time so dazzling. Nani? Lei dun ninjutsu. Sarutobi Hizen's face once again showed a look of surprise. This Uchiha clansman is also proficient in thunder ninjutsu. And it's still this kind of powerful thunderbolt ninjutsu that doesn't need a seal at all. Chidori Ryu in immortal mode is not a cover. At the moment when Sarutobi Hizen was surprised, thunder struck Jiraiya. Jiraiya, who was restrained by the gold dust needle, had no time to react at all, and was hit and fell to the ground at once. One of the dignified Konoha Sannin, Jiraiya, who is famous in the whole ninja world, from the appearance to the street, it is so neat. No discount. Swish. The golden light flashed by, but it was Namikaze Minato who was worried about Jiraiya's safety, and directly used the technique of Flying Thunder God to transfer Jiraiya away. Little did he know that Lu Ren had no intention of killing Jiraiya in the first place. Even if Minato didn't come to the rescue, he wouldn't kill Jiraiya. Teacher. Sir Jiraiya. After Jiraiya was put down, Chu Dao Dinki, Yunvi Jiwei and the others all surrounded them, and all their faces were shocked. That Uchiha man is too powerful, right? The adults of Jiraiya seemed vulnerable. Then the 3rd generation. Thinking of this, everyone couldn't help but look at Sarutobi Hizen with worried and nervous eyes. Chi chi chi. Jingle jingle. However, I saw that the Uchiha man was using the sand iron fine needles to attack Sarutobi Hizen in an extremely dense manner. But everyone can see at a glance that Sarutobi Hizen must not last long. The enemy's strength is too strong, we have to support the 3rd generation. Chu Daoding's seat showed a hint of anxiety, and said to the high-level Konoha around him. Yunivji nodded solemnly, and Minato Namaifeng didn't have any opinion. They exchanged glances with each other and quickly reached an agreement. Dingzhou, you're looking at teacher Jiraiya here, and Jiwei and I are going to support the 3rd generation. Minato Namikaze said to Dingzhou Chu Dao with a stern face. Chu Dao Dingzhou nodded. Minato Namikaze and Jiwei Oil Girl stopped talking nonsense, and immediately launched the teleportation technique, and began to outflank the flow blade from 2 different directions. Minato Namikaze and Jiwei Oil Girl, plus a Sarutobi Hizen, that is, the soldiers will be divided into 3 groups, and they will attack that Uchiha separately. No matter how strong the Uchiha people are, they can't stand it. Chi chi chi. Namikaze Minato made a surprise attack from the right rear of Rukin, shaking his hand from a distance and shooting a flying thunder god kunai at Rukin. But how could Rukin let Minato Nika succeed? As soon as his mind moved, a piece of golden sand suddenly rose from the ground, swallowing all the Fei Lei Shen Kuwu of Namikaze Minato. Buzz. Oil Girl Jiwei attacked from the left rear of Lu Ren. He didn't even need to make a surprise attack, he just controlled the swarm to fly towards Lu Ren. The swarm was not an ordinary attack, and it was almost impossible to block the swarm with sand when the flow blade was already distracted. Rub rub, buzz. Although there were lumps of sand in the ground to stop those swarms, the effect was not really great. It can only slow down the approaching speed of the swarm, but it cannot stop it. Not only that, when Ryuban devoted his energy to dealing with Minato Namikaze and Shimi, his attack on Hizen Sarutobi instantly became weaker. Sarutobi Hizen's pressure suddenly decreased, and he used his physical skills and the Vajra Rui stick to forcibly escape from the rain of fine gold dust needles in the flowing blade. On the side of Akita Dingza and the other Anbu people of Konoha, seeing this, he could not help but breathe a sigh of relief. This Uchiha man is finally suppressed, so next, just catch this Uchiha man, right? On this level, on a tree in the dense forest that no one noticed, the red sand scorpion deliberately said in a tone of indifference. But in fact, the scorpion of Chisha was still very surprised. The Uchiha man was able to suppress the three senior Konoha leaders at the same time as he devoted a considerable part of his energy to seal the Ninetales. While it looks like it's underdog at the moment, it's equally astonishing. Beside the red sand scorpion, Obito, who had run over to meet him, couldn't help but sneer. Don't underestimate this person, he still has a lot of methods that he hasn't used. As if to verify Obito's words, but there was no trace of panic on the face of Lu Ren, who was considered to be at a disadvantage. Although at this time, Minato Namikaze used his super high teleportation technique plus fray Shinkanai, he was about to break through his gold dust defense. Even though Oil Girl Jawei's swarm is about to come behind Lu Ren. 3 hits 1. That's a bit of a no-brainer. Lu Ren still had a calm expression, and even took the time to complain. Swish. Then suddenly, Lu Ren disappeared. It disappeared so quickly, so silently. Namikaze Minato, Sarutobi Hizen, and Oil Girl Jawei are all top experts of Konoha. Even if they are not perceptive ninjas, they can feel the direction of the opponent's chakra flow in this kind of battle. But now, they couldn't feel anything, as if the person had evaporated out of thin air. Several people suddenly showed an extremely vigilant look, and at the same time there was a bad feeling in their hearts. Almost at the moment when Rukin disappeared, it was almost in no particular order. Behind the three people, Minato Namikaze, Hizen Sarutobi, and Shimi of Oil Girl, there were fluctuations in the energy of Rukin at the same time. What? How come? The three of Namikaze Minato were shocked. How on earth did the other party achieve such a terrifying teleportation? Even Hika's Minato's flying Raijin is just like that, right? What they would not have thought was that Lu Ren was indeed using the Flying Thunder God technique. And not only that, when Minato Namaifung noticed the chi-chi of the flowing blade behind him, they also saw the same scene appear on the other two people at the same time. That is to say, this person has both the terrifying teleportation technique that is suspected to be Flying Thunder God, and the technique of multiple shadow clones. The technique of multiple shadows is a forbidden technique of Konoha. At present, only the 4th generation of Megami Fung Minato will use it. As for the terrifying teleportation technique, the reason why it was said to be suspected to be Flying Thunder God was because no one at the scene saw the Flying Thunder God kunai from the flowing blade. Or leave the Flying Thunder God spell. Other than that, this trick is exactly the same as Fei Lei Shen. What the hell is going on here? Originally seeing that the situation had improved, Akita Dingza, who was gradually losing to Uchiha, almost glared his eyes out. That Uchiha can magnetic evasion and lightning evasion, that's all, even multiple shadow clones. Do you want to be so exaggerated? What's the matter? What teleportation technique is he using? The red sand scorpion had no expression on his face, but his heart thumped, and he felt a great threat and pressure. He is a puppet master, and he is most afraid of others getting close to him. The teleportation technique of Lu Ren is simply his nemesis. Obito was also stunned for a moment, and then suddenly realized. His face was suddenly full of approval. Hid Fei Lei Shen Kuei in the sand. What a wonderful tactic. Obito guessed right. On the surface, Ryuran was using gold dust to fight against Hiruzen Sarutobi, but in fact, he secretly used the sand to transfer Fei Lei Shen Kuei behind these three people. Hidden in the sand. Then the three Ryublade attacked at the same time, and instantly appeared behind the three Namikaze Minato. Thousands of birds. Thousands of birds. Thousands of birds. This sonorous and powerful voice sounded from the mouths of the three Lu Ren at the same time. Crackle. The three extremely strong grids shrouded down from the heads of the three Namikaze Minato at the same time. Swish. Namikaze Minato directly escaped with a flying thunder god, and the moment of effort disappeared without a trace, without any damage. However, Sarutobi Hizen and Oil Girl Joy didn't have this kind of method of Namikaze Minato, and they were shrouded in the power grid in an instant. After all, the Flow Blade Flying Thunder God teleportation plus the Chidori flow that does not need a seal, how can it be so easy to crack? It can be said that any seal technique is too late. King Kong Prison Wall. But Hiru Sarutobi's slash to the end was not a cover. At that moment, he threw the King Kong Rui stick in his hand, but saw a bang, and suddenly the blue smoke flashed. A diamond Rui rod was directly split into several diamond Rui rods, and they were placed side by side next to each other. A layer of raft, protective layer was formed, blocking the top of Hiruzen Sarutobi's head, helping Hiruzen Sarutobi resist the attack of the thunder. Only the poor girl, Oil Girl Joy, was directly hit by the Chidori Ryu of Rukin. But at the moment of the split, the good-looking Oil Girl Joy suddenly exploded and turned into a piece of insects. Well, this thing turned out to be just a bug clone. Konoha's top ninjas really have unique skills. Shuriken Shadow Clone Technique. In the tense atmosphere, Hizen Sarutobi's low and sonorous voice sounded. While the monkey demon blocked Chidori Ryu for himself, he took out a huge shuriken and shot it at the flowing blade. Yes, Sarutobi Hizen won the lottery, and Ryuin chose to use his body to deal with him. After all, compared to the other two, Ryuin can handle Sarutobi hidden slash with the fastest speed. Boom! The huge shuriken burst into a cloud of blue smoke in the air, and then turned into an overwhelming shuriken. However, he saw that Lu Ren didn't dodge, and rushed directly to face the shuriken rain. Sarutobi Hizen's brows couldn't help but wrinkle slightly, because the other party's move was really illogical. But in this flash of lightning, Hizen Sarutobi really couldn't figure out why the other party took the initiative to rush towards the shuriken. There is absolutely no logic to this other than courting death. The distance between the two sides was already very close, and coupled with the speed of the shuriken shadow clone, the sky-filled shuriken all shot at Lu Ren at once. Nothing happened. Bingo! A look of joy appeared on Sarutobi Hizen's face. But that flash of joy lasted only 0.412 seconds, and was immediately replaced by a huge surprise and confusion. Because after those shurikens hit the Rukin, they didn't cause any damage to the Rukin, instead they all pierced out of the Rukin body. At that moment, the flow blade seemed to have become illusory. In less than a breath, all the shadow clones completely passed through Lu Ren's body. And at this time, Lu Ren has come to Sarutobi Hizen's side. Spiral pills. A blue chakra energy ball appeared in Lu Ren's hand, and a huge energy fluctuation instantly spread out. Spiral pills. This is a spiral pill. Sarutobi Hizen didn't know how many times he was surprised. Spiral Maru is an A-level ninjutsu, and it is more difficult to learn than ordinary A-level ninjutsu. Konoha is only proficient in Namikaze Minato and Jiraiya. It is impossible to copy directly with the shaker, but this Uchiha can even do it. Boom! The astonished thought flashed through Hiruzen Sarutobi's mind when he was directly hit by Rukin's spiral pill. Is pressing on the body. The two sides were already at such a close distance, and Sarutobi Hizen was stunned by Lu Ren's divine power again, and his response was delayed. Hit directly. Wow! Sarutobi Hizen directly opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of blood, and the man was knocked away by the Rukin, and he rolled several times on the ground. Boom! Almost at the same moment, the monkey demon who replaced the Ryu blade Chidori Ryu in place of Hiru Sarutobi suddenly returned to its original state and fell heavily to the ground. Kneeling too. It has an incorruptible body and a fake diamond, but the incorruptible body of a diamond is not an insulator. 3 generations. With an exclamation, Sarutobi Hizen on the ground disappeared without a trace. Needless to say, it was Namikaze Minato again who used the technique of Flying Thunder God to transfer Hiru Sarutobi away. The next moment, the figure of Namikaze Minato appeared at Dingza Akita, and he put Hiruzen Sarutobi on the ground, side by side with Jiraiya. Looking at the closed eyes and the severely injured master and apprentice, the expressions of Chudao Dingzu and Minato Namikaze were extremely ugly and solemn. How long does it take? Sandemu and Jiraiya were both seriously injured by each other. If it weren't for the special means of Minato Nami and Yunu Jiwei, they would surely have followed in the footsteps of the third generation of ghouls at this moment. No, Oil Girl Jiwei. The two looked at each other, and then both saw the same decision as theirs in each other's eyes, to help Oil Girl Jiwei. Whoosh whoosh. The two stopped talking nonsense, immediately launched the teleportation technique, and began to rush towards the battle circle. But seeing that at the moment Lu Ren is controlling the gold dust, he is carrying out an extremely violent attack on the Oil Girl Jiwei. The oily girl Jiwei was dodging in embarrassment, while trying to control the swarm to fight back. Of course, this oily girl Jiwei is no longer an insect clone, but her body. After realizing that the previous oil girl Jiwei was just a clone, Lu Ren immediately used the super perceptive power in immortal mode to sense, and found the true body of oil girl Jiwei. Immediately afterwards, it was natural to launch an attack on the real body of oil girl Jiwei. Oil girl Jiwei has learned the lessons from the previous few times, how can she dare to be careless at this moment? While defending against the enemy, he also used the insect swarm to surround himself tightly, as if shrouded in a black tornado. No one can get close. If that Uchiha man dared to approach his body, he would definitely be swallowed up by countless swarms. Of course, if Oil Girl Shiwei saw how Sarutobi Hizen was defeated in that flash of lightning, she wouldn't think so. Swish. Sure enough, Lu Ren was still the old-fashioned method, but it was still very effective. Yes, in front, not behind. Because it's not worth it. Oil Girl Jiwei already has a layer of insect swarm protection around her body. If he teleports outside the insect swarm, Chidori cannot effectively harm Yunu Jiwei. After all, Chidori Ryu uses the body to release Thunder Dun Chakra outwards. It is self-centered, and it can't achieve long-range strikes like the magic sword. In other words, he had to get close to the Oil Girl Jiwei, but then he would enter the other party's swarm. Once attacked, it will not be able to become virtual, and will definitely be attacked by insect swarms. So in this case, Chidori is not the best choice. Flow Blade chose another more suitable method, illusion. Rukin, who is in a state of emptiness, cannot use some attack ninjutsu, but there is no problem with using Hitomijutsu at the same time. And using illusion at the moment, Lu Ren has other concerns. At the moment when Lu Ren disappeared, Oil Girl Jiwei only felt a flash in front of her eyes, and then she was shocked, and a face suddenly appeared in front of her. It was almost sticking to his face. Then the writing wheel in his eyes turned directly. Oil Girl Jiwei didn't have time to react at all, and was directly controlled by Lu Ren. However, Lu Ren was not in a hurry to go out, but gave Yunu Jiwei a thought, asking Yunu Jiwei to start controlling a large number of insect swarms to circle around him constantly. Form a denser and heavier tornado. What? At the same time, he opened his mouth and made several screams from time to time, and it was the kind of scream that sounded creepy. The kind that seems to have been severely injured. What happened? In the end, what happened? Minato Namikaze and Dingzachu Dao subconsciously stopped, staring at the large swarm of tornadoes. Everyone's face changed, with worry and surprise all over their faces. Now, even the Oil Girl Jiwei's insect control technique can't deal with that Uchiha man. Since Minato Namikaze's line of sight has been completely blocked by the swarm tornado, they have no idea what happened in the tornado. They also don't know what happened to Oil Girl Jiwei now. Only through the violent riot of the tornado and the screams of Yunu Jiwei could tell that the situation of Yunu Jiwei should be very critical. Minato Namikaze desperately wanted to rush in to help, but unfortunately they couldn't do anything right now. They can only stand outside and watch and wait, who told them that they couldn't rush into the swarm at all. But just when the two were in a hurry, they suddenly felt numb and weak, their hands and feet became stiff and uncontrollable. One after another fell to the ground. I'm poisoned. Namikaze, Minato and Akito Dingza reacted at once. But why are they poisoned? How did you get poisoned? But it's hard to figure out. Until the two fell to the ground at the same time, the riotous swarm of tornadoes in front of them disappeared almost instantly, and the figures of Shimi Oil Girl and the Uchiha man appeared in front of Minato Namikaze. But seeing the Oil Girl Jiwei honestly stood beside the Uchiha man, like a loyal servant. It turns out that Jiwei was controlled by illusion. At this time, the two of Namikaze Minato finally came to a realization. The two of them were poisoned, and all of them were caused by the poisonous insects of Unujiwei. To be more precise, that Uchiha man controlled the oil girl Jiwei to do this. The screams in the swarm before, etc., were all sent out by the Uchiha man who deliberately controlled the oil girl Jiwei. The purpose is to attract the attention of Nika's Minato, and then silently use the poisonous insects to bring them down. And Namikaze Minato and Akito Dingza really got caught. Those poisonous worms are so small that they are not easy to detect with the naked eye after they are dispersed into small strands, and the amount of chakra is also extremely weak and difficult to detect. Even if his attention is completely drawn, Minato, who is as strong as Namikaze, can't resist. What a thoughtful thought. Even as an enemy, Minato Namikaze couldn't help but sigh inwardly. Whether it is the means by which the other party can break into the swarm safely, or the fighting wisdom of using the oil girl Jiwei to deal with them, it is amazing. Namaifung Minato was just defeated like that. The red sand scorpion hidden in the dark, the whole person couldn't help but froze for a while. That is Minato Namaifung. The one-handed flying thunder god technique is already invincible, and the entire ninja world has not heard of anyone who defeated him. But now, even such an undefeated myth has also been defeated by that Uchiha man. The red sand scorpion has already felt a deep fear of the current blade. This man is too strong. This power is not only reflected in his endless variety of sky-defying big moves, but also in the inexhaustible amount of super chakra, which is also reflected in the opponent's tactical level. This kind of enemy can be described in 2 words: terrifying. It is no wonder that the inheritor of the Eye of Reincarnation by his side is also so jealous of the other party. Lord Hokage! Lord Hokage! Surrounded by exclamations, those Anbu ninjas who were originally guarding in the dark could no longer sit still, and they used the shunshu technique to rush out one by one. Surrounded by the flow blade. But even so, they were sweating profusely, and they didn't dare to act rashly. The Uchiha man in front of him is simply a monster. How long has it been since they appeared? Lord Jiraiya has fallen, 3 generations of eyes have fallen, Lord Oil Girl Jiwei has fallen, and Lord Chu Dao Dingzhou has also fallen. The most important thing is that Konoha's current spiritual symbol, the 4th generation of the indestructible myth, Megami Fung Minato, has also fallen. This is when the other party has always maintained the Ninetales seal. The ninjas of Anbu, Konoha, were about to collapse in their spirits. Don't look at how many of them there are, but it's not that they surrounded Lu Ren, but Lu Ren surrounded them by himself. What, do you really want to fight with me? Lu Ren glanced at the surrounding Konoha ninjas, sneered and shouted softly. The surrounding ninjas tightened their chrysanthemums for a moment, their breathing stagnated for a moment, and some even took a step back subconsciously. The pressure that Lu Ren brought them was too great. Bring Nika's Minato and the others, get out of here right away. Lu Ren snorted coldly at the surrounding ninjas. Anbu's leader made a gesture after pondering for a while. They were extremely vigilant and cautiously picked up a few high-level Konoha on the ground, and then launched the teleportation technique and quickly left the place. These people are not fools, and the situation in front of them is completely beyond their control. What they have to do now is not to fight with the mysterious Uchiha man. From the demon-level combat power shown by this man, they can't do anything but die in vain. The most urgent task is to bring Lord Hokage and some other absolute high-level officials back to the village for treatment. The lives of these people are the most important. Swish swish. Those people in Anbu hurriedly returned to Konoha with the body of a high-level Konoha. In the blink of an eye, the scene that was originally crowded with people has become empty. In addition to a few hidden Anbu ninjas observing the situation, there are also the Red Sand Scorpion and Uchiha Obito lurking on the side. Uchiha Madara. Oh, no, you should be called Uchiha Obito. The Scorpion of Red Sand took out a small bottle and handed it to Uchiha Obito. During the battle between Ryuin and Konoha's high-level ninja, he observed the various methods of Ryuin and generally thought about countermeasures. Now, I finally have a plan. What is this? Uchiha Obito took the small bottle and looked at it, and asked a little strangely. An antidote. The Red Sand Scorpion replied casually. Obito's eyes suddenly lit up. Are you going to use poison to deal with him? I can release poison gas on him. The Red Sand Scorpion nodded. Obito's eyes brightened, and I have to say, this is a good idea. Under the circumstance that Lu Ren has a magnetic escape, most of the methods of the Red Sand Scorpion can be said to have been beaten to death, and it is not useful at all. But poison gas is different. Even if the flow blade has a magnetic escape, this thing can't resist it. After all, it is gas, and it can be drilled in with a little gap. As long as you shoot yourself and limit the opponent to a specific range, then you can let the Red Sand Scorpion drown the opponent with poison gas. In this way, it can also break the opponent's divine power. There is nothing wrong with the plan of the Red Sand Scorpion in general, but the most critical and core point of it requires the assistance of Obito. That is to limit the Uchiha people to a specific range. Once the opponent uses the blurring ability to get out of the poison gas area, even the poison gas of the Red Sand Scorpion is useless no matter how powerful it is. That's why the Scorpion of Red Sand gave Obito the antidote for the poison gas in advance, and from the very beginning, he was ready to let Obito restrict that Uchiha man. Obito naturally understands this truth, and he also agrees to do so. After all, he can't think of any other better way to deal with Lu Ren now. The only concern is the technique of Flying Thunder God. Even I can't stop it. He buried some Flying Thunder Gods in the sand before, and he must find those Flying Thunder Gods. Obito said with a frown. If it was kunai, the Flying Thunder God that was visible to the naked eye on the ground, Obito would naturally be able to take it away during the battle. But if it is hidden in the sand by the flowing blade, it will be a little bit awkward. Are those Flying Thunder Gods kunai? Don't worry, the Scorpion of Red Sand said so. At this time, a layer of sand beside him flowed towards him like running water. Among the sand, there were a few Flying Thunder God Kuei. It turns out that the Scorpion of the Red Sand was not idle during the battle between Ryuin and Konoha ninja. While watching the battle, he also secretly used the magnetic sand iron to transfer all the Fei Lei Shen Kuei buried in the sand in Lu Ren. Seeing this, Obito directly used the Shinwei pupil technique to transfer those Flying Thunder Gods, Kuwu, into the Shinwei space. Okay, I have used the magnetic escape to perceive the entire scene. Except for these Flying Thunder Gods, there is no other Flying Thunder Gods. The Scorpion of Red Sand said to Obito with a serious expression. His magnetic escape was originally a ninjutsu that controlled sand, and it could control the sand particles on the entire site to make slight fluctuations. In this way, the situation on the entire ground can be fully sensed. It's not difficult to find Kunai, the god of Flying Thunder Gods buried in the sand. Good job, Scorpion. I'll deal with him first, and you can find opportunities for yourself. Obito put away the antidote, casually greeted the Red Sand Scorpion, and then launched the instant body technique and rushed towards the flowing blade. Jingle jingle. Soon, the sound of gold and iron clashing like raindrops rang out, and Obito once again launched a fierce battle with Ryuin. However, this time, Lu Ren was still in the immortal mode and did not quit, and his strength was many times stronger than before. If there is no divine power in Reincarnation all 10 Obito will be killed by Lu Ren. It's unreasonable. After playing for so long, this guy doesn't feel tired at all. Is his chakra unlimited? The Red Sand Scorpion looked more and more frightened in the dark. Little did he know that Lu Ren had already used up almost all of his chakra, and he didn't look like Obito. He had white cells on half of his body, and his chakra consumption was much more than the average person. Lu Ren is now only the chakra of the ordinary Jonin, but he can continuously use the chakra of the tailed beast in his body. It is worth noting that the current blade is actually equivalent to the perfect level of human pillar strength, which means that it is completely in control of the human pillar strength. To put it more bluntly, the control of the tailed beast chakra in the body is also arbitrary. No matter what degree he wants to achieve, the two tailed beasts in his body will cooperate with him 100%. Just secretly misappropriating chakra, supplementing your own chakra consumption, and no longer producing a chakra coat on the body surface, this state of flow blade can also be easily achieved. After all, Obito's Eye of the Moon project is the 9-tailed beasts, and Lu Ren doesn't want Obito or Ju to see that he already has other tailed beasts. Obito, this guy is dying. The Red Sand Scorpion secretly complained, and then no longer delayed, he also launched the instant body technique and appeared on the battlefield. After releasing two puppets in front of him to defend against Lu Ren's terrifying and strange pupil technique, the Red Sand Scorpion once again summoned the 3 generations of Fengyiang Ren puppets. Only this time, he did not control the Wind Shadow puppet to use the magnetic escape, but used a physical attack. Ka ka ka. In the sound of the surging and colliding organs, the arms of the 3 generations of Fengyiang Ren puppets differentiated into hundreds of arms, each arm carrying a sharp blade, and stabbed towards the flowing blade fiercely. The number of arms is almost comparable to that of Orochimaru's latent shadow multi-snake hand. Lu Ren just glanced at the Red Sand Scorpion lightly, without any change in expression on his face. Immediately using his magnetic escape, he controlled a mass of sand to come out to resist the arm flow attack. Shen Luo Tianzheng. But at this time, Obito suddenly cooperated on the side. As soon as he fired Shen Luo Tianzheng, the sand shot by Lu blade was instantly repulsive, and there was a deviation. The originally impeccable defense suddenly had a loophole. Chi chi chi. Thanks to this, most of the Red Sand Scorpion's arms were still blocked by the sand, but dozens of arms still bypassed the sand defense and stabbed in front of Lu Ren. The flowing edge naturally entered the virtual state. All the arms passed through Lu Ren's body and inserted into the ground behind Lu Ren. Chi chi chi. It was also at this moment that a large amount of cyan poisonous gas began to emerge from those arms. Uchiha Flame Array. At the same time, Lu Ren heard a voice in his ear. There was a flower in front of his eyes, but he saw a layer of enchantment burning with flames suddenly rise around him. The entire Lu Ren was trapped in Tuantuan. In the blink of an eye, the poisonous gas of the Red Sand Scorpion filled the entire enchantment space. Success. Seeing this scene, Chisha Scorpion couldn't help but feel excited, and Obito's eyes flashed with joy. Fei Lei Shen Kue has all been stolen by the Red Sand Scorpion and sent into the divine power space with soil, which means that Lu Ren has been successfully trapped in the flame formation. Now the opponent can only fight against the poisonous gas of the Red Sand Scorpion through the avatar of divine power. Once the continuous blurring time is up, Uchiha Ryublade will definitely be poisoned by the poisonous gas of the Red Sand Scorpion. Simply the perfect plan. Uchiha Flame Formation. The flowing blade in the array looked at the enchantment that was burning with flames, but was only slightly stunned, and then quickly recognized the sealing technique. This sealing technique is very powerful. In the original 4 battles, Obito used to protect the outsider golem, and even a punch from the 8 tails could be blocked, and even burned the fist of the 8 tails. With brute force, Lu Ren would definitely not be able to break this barrier. After all, no matter whether it is immortal mode or chakra borrowed from the tailed beast in the body, it is definitely not as powerful as the 8 tails. What's more, there is no need for Lu Ren to do this at all. Why bother with something that can be done with a single shot of the Thunder God? The Fei Lei Shen Kuwu who stayed outside has disappeared. However, when he was about to transfer, Lu Ren was a little surprised. He couldn't feel the Fei Lei Shen Kunai who had stayed outside before. Those Fei Lei Shen Kuwu were hidden in the sand by him. How did the other party take them away? What, is there no flying thunder god Kunai? Seeing Lu Ren's slightly surprised look, Obito couldn't help but open his mouth with a hint of smugness. I have fought with this guy for so long, and every time Obito is crushed by this person, this time, it is finally a turnaround. Yes, this is a bit beyond my expectations. The Fei Lei Shen Kuwu I left outside was quietly taken away by you, so I give you a thumbs up. Lu Ren's face was as calm as ever, even with a hint of sarcasm. However, there is such a thing as Fei Lei Shen Kuwu. I want to have it, I can have it at any time. Lu Ren said coldly. Swish. After saying this, the figure of Lu Ren disappeared directly from the Uchiha Flame Formation. In the blink of an eye, he appeared opposite Obito and Chisha Scorpion, and looked at them from a distance. Flying Thunder God. How could it be? There is an indescribable surprise in the voice of the Red Sand Scorpion. I sensed it through the fluctuation of the sand, and there is no flying thunder god Kunai there. It was true before, but now, there is. Lu Ren said inexplicably. Just like in Yuyan Village, Lu Ren had already separated out a shadow clone and hid in the shadows, quietly responding to himself outside and cooperating with himself tactically. Just when he discovered that the previously buried Fei Lei Shen Kuwuquan was taken away by Obito, the shadow clone immediately used the too long hidden technique and secretly moved to the current position. Of course, there is Flying Thunder God Kunai in the hands of the Shadow Clone, which is needless to say. The faces of Obito and Chisha Scorpion began to look ugly. They couldn't restrain the other's Flying Thunder God at all. How could they fight in this fight? It doesn't matter how many tricks you use. Red Sand Scorpion, you shouldn't interfere in this matter. At this time, Lu Ren turned his head towards the Red Sand Scorpion, and a cold light burst out from his eyes. He decided to kill the Red Sand Scorpion first, and then slowly play with the soil, otherwise this guy would always run out and get in the way. Even though it doesn't pose a deadly threat to the flow blade, it is very annoying. The Red Sand Scorpion suddenly stunned, and a very bad feeling rose. Then he saw that Lu Ren just launched the teleportation technique and rushed towards him. Chi chi chi. The Red Sand Scorpion began to control the 3 generations of Wind Shadow Man puppets and continuously launched various attacks on the flow blade, sand iron needles, sand iron spears, sand iron cubes and so on. However, Lu Ren did not care about it at all, and directly used the divine power to virtualize, chasing after the Red Sand Scorpion. Flowing Blade is now in immortal mode, and the instant body technique is much faster than the Red Sand Scorpion. He has penetrated layer after layer of obstacles and is about to come to the Red Sand Scorpion. The unpleasant feeling in the heart of the Red Sand Scorpion became heavier, and even felt a threat of life and death. No, the Red Sand Scorpion is over. Obito's complexion was equally dignified. Once Lu Ren used his divine power to blur the body of the Red Sand Scorpion, there was no line of sight between the two of them. If the Red Sand Scorpion was directly exposed to Lu Ren's line of sight, the Red Sand Scorpion would be finished. No matter whether it is Shinwei or Black Flame Eye technique, it is not something that the Red Sand Scorpion can resist. The Red Sand Scorpion is also very clear about this. The terrifying tricks of Lu Ren have been told to him by Obito when he was looking for him to cooperate. The lesson of Fei Liuhu was in front of him. How could the Red Sand Scorpion dare to be careless? However, in the face of this guy who can be immune to all attacks, his various tricks are useless. The other party can completely chase him in front of him within a few minutes. How to do? Just fight. The Red Sand Scorpion gritted his teeth and made a very difficult decision: use the last scroll. As of now, there is no other way. After making this decision, the 4 scrolls installed on the back of the Red Sand Scorpion were automatically connected to the 4th scroll. At the same time, the chakra puppet line between his hands and fingers had disappeared, and in its place was another kind of white puppet line that looked a little weird. On the other end of the line, the connected puppet is an illusory, ghost-like shadow. Just after releasing the puppet in the 4th scroll, Lu Ren had already used the virtual state to break through the layers of obstacles and came to the side of the Red Sand Scorpion. He was about to use the pupil technique on the Red Sand Scorpion, but a shadow rushed towards him directly. Lu Ren was slightly startled, but he never remembered that the Red Sand Scorpion had such a strange puppet. Such a thought just flashed in my mind, and the shadow puppet flew directly in front of Lu Ren. At that moment, an extremely dangerous feeling suddenly passed over. The shadow puppet actually passed through Lu Ren's body and penetrated directly into Lu Ren's soul. Soul attack. This shadow is the soul body. Lu Ren was taken aback. To be exact, he was terrified to the extreme. Since he bound the sign-in system to now, he has obtained countless powerful means and cards, and he thinks that the entire ninja world, whether ninja or ninjutsu, is unparalleled. Even if a powerful person is in front of him, he can look at them calmly and not be shocked. Lu Ren never imagined that one day, he would encounter a technique that shocked him extremely. Direct attack on the soul. Red Sand Scorpion, are you hanging up? And it's not too small to hang up. However, after being surprised, Lu Ren quickly calmed down. The writing wheel eyes in his pupils turned and switched directly to the state of samsara eyes. He stretched out his hand towards the soul body and used the power of the human way, and then suddenly grabbed the soul body. Of course, while doing this, Lu Ren also controlled the gold dust to permeate the surroundings, blocking the sight of the surroundings, so as not to be seen by Obito or the hidden Jew. What? It's impossible. This time, it was the turn of the Red Sand Scorpion to be extremely terrified. The puppet sealed by his last scroll was a soul puppet. How could this man be caught? How can that be? The soul level is completely 2 dimensions from the real world. Okay. Kill him for me. Kill him. A blow to his soul. The red sand scorpion roared incessantly, desperately trying to control the soul puppet. But no matter how he manipulated it, the soul puppet was tightly grasped in Lu Ren's hands, motionless. Boom! At this time, Lu Ren punched the body of the red sand scorpion with a direct punch, and took out an oval container from it. That container is the core of the red sand scorpion now, and it is the control center of the red sand scorpion. As long as you get this thing, the puppet body of the red sand scorpion will be useless. And if this center is installed on another puppet, the red sand scorpion will be resurrected again. In this sense, the immortality that Orochimaru pursued was perfectly realized in the scorpion of red sand. When the flowing blade pulled out the red sand scorpion lost the control of the soul puppet in the fourth scroll, and the soul puppet disappeared directly. The flow blade Shinwei pupil technique was used, and the control center of the red sand scorpion was directly transferred into the Shinwei space. Originally, Lu Ren planned to kill the red sand scorpion directly, but in the end, when the red sand scorpion's soul puppet came out, it successfully roused Lu Ren's interest. He decided to study what the hell was going on. If the study was done, Lu Ren would have an extra perverted killer. This is a soul attack. PFF'd. The red sand scorpion's puppet body fell down in front of Lu Ren, revealing the situation on his back. Lu Ren glanced at it, and suddenly realized. It turned out that the sky-defying puppet just now turned out to be the fourth scroll of the red sand scorpion. One of the four scrolls of the red sand scorpion is more powerful than the other, and the fourth most powerful scroll has never been used, and no one knows what it is. But Lu Ren never thought that it would be so powerful. It's completely open level. What Lu Ren didn't know was that the red sand scorpion was not something that could be used casually. The soul puppet couldn't be controlled by ordinary methods, and it had to be controlled by the soul. The scorpion of red sand just now launched a soul blow to him, which also caused great trauma to the soul of the scorpion of red sand. Especially in the current state of the red sand scorpion, even if Lu Ren temporarily got his center, it is hard to say whether the red sand scorpion can be resurrected again in the future. After everything was done, Lu Blade removed the alluvial gold surrounding him. Obito saw that Lu Ren was standing on the spot, and in front of Lu Ren was the red sand scorpion lying motionless on the ground. Scorpion, dead. Obito was not surprised by this. When this Uchiha man was determined to kill Scorpion, Scorpion could not survive. After the puppet body of the red sand scorpion was also taken into the Shinwei space, Lu Ren began to walk towards Obito. Obito's face suddenly became ugly. Obito, let's give up the Ninetales for now. A head suddenly appeared in the ground, with a pitcher plant growing on its neck, half black and half white. It was black and white Jew. What are you talking about? Obito yelled angrily and unwillingly. Could it be that every time he encounters this guy, he has to return with a feather in his head? The soil is really not reconciled. You also know that this is the right choice. Black and White ignored Obito's anger and analyzed the situation for Obito. You have also seen his methods. Even if you transplanted the Eye of Reincarnation, you can't beat him. Shut up. Your voice is annoying, Obito said angrily. However, although Highway's words were a bit unpleasant, Obito also knew that what Highway said was true, and there was indeed a big gap between him and Lu Ren. It is almost impossible to take back the Ninetales from this person. Is this time planning to fail again? Hateful. Obito couldn't help clenching his fists. Obito, go back first, we'll make another plan later, there will always be a way. Black and White said to Obito again. Obito's complexion changed several times, but in the end his reason prevailed over his emotions. He took a long breath and made a plan. Anyway, the purpose of this time is to destroy Konoha. The Ninetales are just a means. Even if there is no Ninetales, I can still do it with my strength. Kyuubi stayed here, just to restrain this Uchiha man for me. I am not retreating, but a strategic transfer. After thinking about it this way, Obito really felt that it was easier to accept. A space vortex appeared directly in front of his eyes, and he was about to transfer himself into the divine power space. But Obito ignored one thing, that is, when he used the divine power to transfer, it was equivalent to opening a channel between the divine power space and the real space. At this time, Lu Ren can fully feel the mark of the flying thunder god in the Shinwei space. Where did the Kamui mark come from in the Kamui space with Earth? Actually a lot. First, Obito transferred all the flying thunder god kunai emitted by Rukin into his own divine power space in order to prevent Rairan from using the flying thunder god to fight during the battle. Second, Lu Ren was also in the process of fighting, deliberately leaving the imprint of the thunder god on Obito. Be prepared, and choose whatever you want. However, in order to ensure that he could hit Obito with a fatal blow, Lu Ren chose to perceive the flying thunder god technique left on Obito. When Obito's body was transferred into the Kamui space, the passage between the Kamui space and the real space was about to close. Swish! Lu Ren's body disappeared in a flash, and he disappeared in an instant. There are shadow clones that Lu Ren has hidden for a long time, so there is no need to worry about the outside. The next moment, in the divine power space, Obito had just landed on the ground when he felt a movement behind him, and before he had time to react, someone pressed his shoulder directly. In the Shinwei space, you can't use the blur, can you, Obito? At the same time, a very familiar voice sounded in Obito's ear, which made him both fearful and resentful. However, that voice was also quite correct. The principle of blurring was to transfer the attacked part of the body into the divine power space. He is now in the Shinwei space, where should he move to? In other words, if I wanted to kill you just now, you are already dead, Obito. The annoying sound continued, but then Obito felt the hand on his shoulder loosen again. The other party did nothing to Obito. This surprised Obito. He turned around, looked at Uchiha Rukin with some surprise, and then snorted coldly, "No, even if you really shot me just now, you won't kill me at all." So confident. Oh, I see, Izanagi. Rairan understood Obito's confidence after just a little thought. But think about it, this trick can even change the reality. It can be called the number one bug in Hokage, and Obito does have this kind of confident capital. As for where Obito's extra writing wheel came from, Lu Ren was not interested in knowing. For people like Obito, it is too easy to kill the Uchiha people and transplant the writing wheel. What's more, when the senile plaques died, there was already a writing wheel. If Lu Ren was Obito, it would not be such a waste of resources. Obito's face became a little ugly, this feeling as if everything was under the control of the other party was really unpleasant. Why do you have a sense of superiority in front of me for someone like you who hides your head and shows your tail? Obito slammed Lu Ren mercilessly. He has played against Lu Ren more than once, but each time he fought, Lu Ren has a different face. Until now, Obito didn't even know who his prime enemy was. Of course, Obito had already gone to investigate the identity of Lu Ren long after he was shriveled in the hands of Lu Ren for the first time, but there was no result. Apart from Uchiha Shisui, the Uchiha family has never heard of anyone who opened the kaleidoscope writing wheel eye. A person who wears a mask all day doesn't seem qualified to say such a thing. Lu Ren replied lightly. Obito. He was speechless. Okay Obito, I found an opportunity to talk to you face to face this time. I didn't come to argue with you. Actually, I have something I want to know from you. What Lu Ren said next made Obito startled a little. He really didn't expect Lu Ren to have something else to ask him about. With the relationship between the two of them, is it really appropriate to do so? Are you so out of touch with this guy? However, Obito was also very curious about what Lu Ren wanted to ask himself, but he mocked Lu Ren with a pretense of arrogance. You guy, do you still need my help? That's right, even a diaper and a match have its value, and you are no exception, Obito. Rairan said to Obito solemnly. Obito almost jumped. What kind of bullshit metaphor is this? Tell me, what's the matter? Obito said to Lu Ren angrily. Do you know infinite monthly reading? Lu Ren really asked Obito in a tone of pleading for advice. What did you just say? Unlimited monthly reading. Obito wondered if he had heard it wrong, if he was too exhausted after playing with Lu Ren for too long and had hallucinations. Infinite month reading. This plan, has Uchiha Madara told other people besides himself? No, I am not the only heir to Uchiha Madara. But how did the Uchiha in front of him know? Lu Ren's words completely shocked Obito, stunned and bewildered. After a good few seconds, Obito stared at Lu Ren's eyes, and asked in a deep voice, where did you know about Infinite Moon? Looks like you really know. Lu Ren looked very fortunate. I really asked the right person. You haven't answered me yet. How did you know it? The expression on Obito's face never slackened, and his voice was even more solemn. How else would you know, like you? Lu Ren looked like he was talking about something trivial, not to mention how easy it was. Impossible. This is absolutely impossible. Obito couldn't accept the tunnel. He originally thought that he had taken over the banner of reshaping the entire ninja world from Madara Uchiha, and he always felt that the fate of the entire ninja world was on his shoulders. Although there is a long way to go, it is also very honorable. In the end, Madara Uchiha has already found another person. Obito felt a little bit deceived. Unacceptable. Why is it impossible? The stone tablet of Nanga Shrine is just standing there, you can't read it if you can. Don't think that you are the only one who opened the eternal kaleidoscope writing wheel. Lu Ren then rebutted in a serious manner. Of course, to say that Obito opened the eternal kaleidoscope or something, Lu Ren said that on purpose, in order to make it reasonable for him to read from the stone tablet to the infinite monthly reading. It is also reasonable to let Ryuan come here to ask about Obito infinite moon reading. Whether or not Obito's Shaker Eye is an eternal kaleidoscope now, Lu Ren does not dare to give a definite conclusion. But Obito had white Ju transplanted on his body, supported by intercolumnar cells, and could be used like an eternal kaleidoscope eye without any difference. For the plot characters in Hokage, without the perspective of God, it is impossible for Lu Ren to know that Obito has white cells, and it is even more impossible to know what white cells are. Therefore, from Obito's standpoint, it is reasonable for Lu Ren to infer that he has opened the eternal kaleidoscope. Obito. The turning point of Lu Ren was too sudden, and Obito's waist flashed like lightning, causing Obito to be caught off guard. Obito was a little confused at first. Naturally, he knew about the Nanga Shrine of the Uchiha family, but he had never been there before. It actually recorded the infinite monthly reading plan. He began to think about it intently, and really remembered it. After listening to the Moon Eye plan, he later asked Uchiha Madara how he came up with this method. Madara once told him that this was the guidance left by the Six-Path Immortals. It was recorded on a stone tablet at Nanga Shrine. It turns out that you saw this plan there too. Is that why you robbed the Ninetales? After Obito was stunned for a while, he began to act in front of Lu Ren. Since Lu Ren also knew about this plan, Obito had to see what the other party's attitude towards this plan was. This determines whether Lu Ren will be his partner in the future, or his enemy with different ideas. Sure enough, you also saw this plan, I knew it. Lu Ren said with great joy, I finally found a person with a common language. I have always felt strange about this plan. I wanted to communicate with people, but there was no one to talk about. Now that I have met you, it is really nice. So, what questions do you have? Obito asked Ryorin calmly. I'm wondering if this plan is fake. Lu Leiyu said with astonishment. Obito's expression on the opposite side couldn't help changing. Why did you say that? After being stimulated a bit, Obito raised his brows, staring at Lu Ren and asked. Obito, you are also from our Uchiha clan, so you must know about our ancestors, right? Lu Ren asked an unrelated matter first. You mean, Indra? Of course I know. Obito replied as a matter of course. Indra, the ancestor of the Uchiha family, is recorded in Uchiha's genealogy or Konoha's related books, how could he not know? Then you know the story between Indra, the ancestor of our clan, and Asura, the ancestor of the Thousand Hand clan. Lu Ren continued to ask in an unfathomable and confident tone. Our ancestor Indra and the ancestor of the Chinsho family, Asura, are a pair of brothers. They are both children of the Six Paths Immortals. It's just that Indra left the village they created together because of different ideas. Of course I know this story. What the hell are you trying to say? Please tell me directly, don't be obsessed. Obito was a little dazed by Lu Ren, and at the same time he was a little impatient, and asked Lu Ren a little irritably. Don't you think there is something wrong with this? Lu Ren asked Obito with a stern look on his face. Without waiting for Obito to say more, he began to talk eloquently in front of Obito, and conducted a decent analysis in a straightforward manner. Indra advocates power and advocates changing everything by power, while Asura is the same as his father, the Six-Path Sage, who believes in the power of love. Because of different ideas, the father and son gradually had differences, and eventually a major conflict broke out, and the worst result broke out. Just as Madara Uchiha left Konoha, Indra also left the village created by their father and son. Not only that, Indra even attacked the village later, completely turning against Asura and the immortals of the Six Paths. Then the question is, if there is really a way to save the world left by the Six Paths immortals on the stone tablet of Nanga Shrine, why did he leave it to the Indra family instead of the Asura family? After all, from the standpoint of the Six Path immortals, he has no reason to leave the Indra family. Because Indra doesn't agree with him at all. Obito was really questioned by Lu Ren. Indra, who advocated power in those days, had serious differences with the Six Path immortals and Asuras who advocated love, which eventually led to father and son turning against each other and brothers becoming enemies. The immortals of the Six Paths are extremely disapproving of Indra's ideas, and vice versa for Indra. Even when the immortals of the Six Paths died in the end, it was Asura, not Indra, who accompanied the immortals of the Six Paths. Then the inheritance of the Six Paths immortals idea is indeed more reasonable if it is handed over to Asura. But just because of this, I suspect that the unlimited monthly reading plan is fake, and the span is a bit big. Is this a bit far-fetched? Obito frowned and said to Rukin. Don't worry, I have another question. Do you still have questions? Obito's brows twitched, and the next question would not be the same kind of question. If that steel was really left to the Uchiha clan by the Six Paths immortals to warn the Uchiha clan to save the world, then why do you set such a high threshold? You have to open the eternal kaleidoscope to see it. What's the point of doing this? Obito frowned. This plan involves a lot, and naturally it must be kept highly confidential, and it cannot be easily known to everyone. If that's the case, wouldn't it be better for the Uchiha clan to keep the stone tablet secretly and pass it on from generation to generation? Our Uchiha family doesn't know enough about these eyes, let alone the eternal kaleidoscope writing wheel eye, and even the ordinary Guyu writing wheel eye doesn't know how to open it. If no one in the future opens the eternal kaleidoscope, isn't this important plan lost? It's too unreliable to pass down such a major plan with such a high-risk method. Lu Dao Shanren is Indra's father, and he has opened the writing wheel. Naturally, he is very clear about the accidental opening of the writing wheel. It is really not logical for him to do so. Obito's brow wrinkled again. The theory of Rairan does have some truth. After fully accepting the Moon Eye plan, he once asked Uchiha Madara how to open his eyes, but Uchiha Madara was not very clear about it. Even Madara's own eyes were opened by mistake after transplanting his brother's writing wheel. Obito can't give any guidance on this matter. Even Uchiha Madara is like this, not to mention other Uchiha clansmen. Compared with this method, the one that Lu Ren said is kept secret by the Uchiha Patriarch is indeed more logical. But even so, what Rairan said now is not enough to make Obito doubt the plan. This is just your own speculation, right? Obito said thoughtfully. Yes, this is my speculation, but in addition, I also found some clues. Lu Ren said next. Clues? Obito couldn't calm down, and felt a little uneasy in his heart. What clues? When I used the eternal kaleidoscope to read the content on the stone tablet, I found that some words on it seemed to have been modified by someone. Is this true? Uchiha Obito's expression has changed. If this is the case, it means that there is a real possibility that there is a problem with the unlimited monthly reading plan. Of course, this is just my guess, and I'm not sure. However, Lu Ren followed closely, but the conversation changed, which made Obito slightly relieved. Obito is really a bit unacceptable if his beliefs are a hoax. Since I'm not sure, why are you telling me this? Obito snorted softly with an expressionless face. That stone tablet was made by Yin Yang Dun. My eyes are just an eternal kaleidoscope, which is far from enough to see through that stone tablet. But Obito, you now have the eyes of the Six Paths immortals, and it's no problem to see through the stone tablet, so I want to ask you to check to see if the stone tablet has been modified. Rairan said to Obito with a serious face. This is the purpose of the nonsense of Rairan and Obito, to mention Obito in a euphemistic and roundabout way. After all, Lu Ren and Obito had no grievances and no hatreds in the end, but inexplicably became life and death enemies. Moreover, whether Lu Ren intentionally or unintentionally destroyed Obito's actions so many times, this time he even took the initiative to calculate it on Obito's head. A little bit of Obito can be regarded as a compensation for Obito. Obito's heart moved slightly. Although he still didn't fully believe Lu Ren's words, the stone tablet of Nanga Shrine had successfully attracted his attention. Anyway, we've already arrived at Konoha, so it's okay to drop by to see that stone tablet. After pondering for a while, Obito couldn't help but think so. Anyway, a divine power will pass, and it will not be troublesome. But the arrogant Obito was still dismissive on the surface. Do you think I'll do such a boring thing just because of a few words of yours? Boring. Obito, I suspect there is a huge conspiracy behind this. Lu Ren's acting has reached its peak, and gradually entered the state. This infinite monthly reading plan was deliberately fabricated by someone. Oh, is that so? What conspiracy? Obito asked nonchalantly. Kill Uchiha Madara, Lu Ren said loudly and forcefully, and analyzed Obito plausibly. Someone deliberately modified the content on the stone tablet and wrote this infinite monthly reading plan, just to let Uchiha Madara see it. This can explain why the 6 Paths Immortals left the Indra Stone Steel, and why only the Eternal Kaleidoscope can be seen. Because this stone tablet was specially made for Uchiha Madara. In the end, Bangwo was really deceived, betrayed Konoha, and was removed by the first generation. If that's the case, all doubts are perfectly explained, aren't they? Behind this, there is obviously a mastermind who controls everything from start to finish. Obito raised his eyebrows. Then tell me, who is the mastermind behind this? Tanzo, Lu Ren blurted out. What? Obito was stunned. Group possession. Do you dare to go any further? He is an old fox who hides in the dark. He usually plays some tricks. How can he be able to set up such a shocking situation? What are you kidding? What's more, according to Lu Ren's theory, Senju Tobirama had not yet become Hokage. How old was that old bandit Danzo? Cough cough. I mean Danzo's teacher, 2nd generation, Chinsho Tobirama. Lu Ren hurriedly explained, and at the same time he couldn't help sweating. When I was looking for someone to take the blame, I unconsciously thought of Danzo. This old thing was killed by himself and he arranged him like this. It's really a sin. After sweating silently for a while, Lu Ren continued to talk for Obito. You can't know the attitude of the 2nd generation towards the Uchiha family, and the 2nd generation killed Madara's younger brother, they already have hatred. That's why Senju Tobirama secretly designed all this behind his back, just to kill Madara Uchiha, and it finally succeeded. Obito is not so easy to fool. You also said before that the stone tablet of Nanga Shrine is the product of yin and yang escape. How can Chinsho Tobirama modify it? This. It really is. Sure enough, nonsense is not so easy to say. Lu Ren was slightly stopped by Obito, but soon began to nonsense quietly. Obito, are you too naive? Who is Senju Tobirama, the king of forbidden techniques? You must have heard of how many forbidden techniques he developed. What's so strange about such a person modifying the steel of Nanga Shrine? The righteous words on Lu Ren's face made him almost believe it, and at the same time, he was full of admiration for himself. This set of nonsense, from the whole article, there is really not much problem in logic. After all, Chinsho Tobirama needs strength, and motives. There are also some doubts he raised before, which can be perfectly explained in this conspiracy theory. It was to let Chinsho Tobirama carry a black cauldron on his back, making Lu Ren feel a little bit embarrassed. But Senju Tobirama, as Danzo's teacher, should share some of the burdens for the students, right? Of course, it's not a bad taste for Rairen to frame Chinsho Tobirama, mainly to let Heiju relax his guard against him. What is certain is that after bringing the soil back, he will definitely tell Heiju what happened today. When Heiju hears it, some people even suspect that the infinite monthly reading plan is a conspiracy deliberately designed by Black Hands. Is it still good? Wasn't Lu Ren directly a thorn in the side of Heiju? That's why Lu Ren made up such a conspiracy theory, and when Heiju knew that the person Lu Ren suspected was Chinsho Tobirama, he would definitely feel relieved. After listening to Lu Ren's tirade, Obito fell silent. Although Lu Ren's conspiracy theory may sound a little ridiculous, it's really not obvious if you look at it from all aspects. Although he didn't fully believe it, Obito's thought of going to Nanga Shrine to check the stone tablet made him a little more serious. Seeing that the seeds have been successfully planted in Obito's heart, Lu Ren will not talk more with Obito. He uses his divine power pupil technique, and the person disappears in front of Obito. The next moment, Obito reappeared in front of Kyuubi using the Kamui pupil technique. I have done my best to Obito now. What kind of development Obito will develop in the future will all depend on his good fortune. But if I were Obito, I would definitely go to the stone tablet at Nanga's shrine to have a look. Lu Ren couldn't help but think so in his heart. Thinking about Obito's next development, he is really looking forward to it. Not long after Lu Ren used Shinwei to go out, Obito also came out of his Shinwei space. That's great, Obito, so you're still alive. After so long, I thought you were killed by that guy. Heiju immediately raised his head from the ground and said. Obito was unhappy when he heard it, and this guy, black and white, looked down on himself too much, didn't he? Well, that guy is really powerful, and Obito admits that he is not as good as him, but black and white must never save himself some face. Let's go, he said to Heiju in annoyance. We won't be able to get the Ninetales back, what are you going to do next? Heiju asked aside. Go to Konoha. Obito's face returned to that grim look again. Even without the Ninetales, I can destroy Konoha myself. This plan sounds pretty good, Heiju said in agreement. At this time, a vortex of divine power appeared in front of Obito's eyes, sucking him into it and disappearing. Black and white absolutely sank into the ground. In this conversation between Obito and Black and White, Uchiha Rairin was not at all clear about it. He was still sitting calmly beside Ninetales, guarding Ninetales. Konoha, hospital, quick, get out of the way. There are important patients, everyone stay out of the way. Hurry up, Lord Sandemu is vomiting blood again. One stretcher after another, being pushed very fast, they ran wildly in the hospital corridor like a racing car, accompanied by anxious roars. That's called a jerk. The person in charge of the hospital who came in a hurry, the sweat on his forehead was almost full, and his scalp was about to explode. What's going on? The third generation, the fourth generation, Jiraiya, Chu Doubtingzo, Oil Girl Jiwei. All of them were seriously injured and admitted to the hospital. Could it be that people from other villages such as Yenian, Sandian, and Wuin have united and invaded Konoha? Otherwise, how could such a tragic situation occur? The person in charge was stunned and stressed. If there is a problem with one of these big men, it will cause a shock in Konoha, not to mention so many. And what's very terrible is that now so many big people patronize his business at the same time. There are not so many medical ninjas in the hospital for a while. We're all fine, treat Watergate first. Fortunately, the third generation spoke to the person in charge in time, which made him breathe a long sigh of relief. So the person in charge immediately started to check the physical condition of Minato Namikaze. Soon, his brows were wrinkled like a chrysanthemum blooming in late autumn. Lord Hokage is poisoned and needs to be treated with the corresponding antidote, but... Speaking of this, the person in charge frowned even more, like two senior chrysanthemums blooming in late autumn, but this is not something that can be done in a while, and it may not even be possible to prepare the corresponding antidote. Quote, if only Tsunade were here. Jiraiya had already woken up and turned around, and he sat up laboriously and said, Master Sandemu, Master Jiraiya, I suspect that Master Hokage and Master Chu Doubtingzo should have been poisoned by Master Jiwei, the oil girl. At this time, a ninja from Anbu jumped out and said to several people. Then the Anbu ninja told Sandame and Jirai the whole process of how he saw how Sandame and Akita Dingza fainted. Characters like Sandemu have extremely rich combat wisdom and combat experience. After listening to this, they immediately made the same judgment as that Anbu ninja. Quick, wake up the oil girl Jiwei. The third generation immediately said. The person in charge immediately went to Yunvi Jiwei's stretcher, reached out and injected a chakra into Yunvi Jiwei's head, and Yunvi Jiwei quickly opened her eyes. That's great, Mr. Jiwei really fell into an illusion. Then it's easy to do now. The person in charge couldn't help but be overjoyed. Why am I here? What happened? Oil girl Jiwei said as she looked around in confusion. Jiwei, Minato is likely to be poisoned by your poisonous insects, go and see. Jiraiya said anxiously at this time. When oil girl Jiwei heard this, she was also surprised. He hurriedly ran over to check, his face changed slightly, it is indeed my nano-poisonous insect, how could it be like this? Immediately, oil girl Jiwei didn't say anything nonsense, and immediately controlled it, letting the nano-poisonous insects that had penetrated into Minato Namaifang crawl out. In the end, the oil girl Jue took out another small bottle and poured it into the mouth of Minato, and he was relieved. Said, fortunately, Lord Hokage was only attacked by a small amount of nano-poisonous insects, so the poisoning is not deep. After taking my antidote, it should recover in a few hours. Everyone present breathed a sigh of relief. Thank goodness, Hokage-sama will be fine. Really, it's just a pity, you don't have that much time. But at this moment, a sinister voice suddenly rang out, and black and white Jew emerged from the ground. This half-black, half-white, half-human, half-plant guy immediately caught everyone's attention. Who are you? Jiraiya dragged his injured body and jumped off the stretcher, staring at Heiju with extreme vigilance. Sarutobi Hizen, Oil Girl Jue, and the other Anbu ninjas on the scene also moved quickly one by one, surrounding Black and White Jew. Hey, don't look at me like that, your enemy is not me, but him. Heiju pointed to the back of everyone and said. Everyone subconsciously turned their heads and looked back, and their expressions changed drastically. Because Uchiha Obito did not know when he had appeared there, and took Namikaze Minato in his hand. Uchiha Obito, hurry up and put down Minato. Sandemu shouted at Obito in a deep voice. Do you think you can still issue orders to me now? Obito sneered with great disdain, with an incomparable sarcasm, 3 generations. Obito, what do you want to do? If you have any requirements, you can ask them, and we can talk slowly. Jiraiya said calmly on the side. I want to destroy Konoha, I don't know if I can talk about it. Obito said so. Obito, I don't know what you have gone through to become like this, so that you have the terrible idea of wanting to destroy Konoha, but Minato is your teacher, don't you care about the relationship between you at all? Teacher-student love. Jiraiya continued to persuade on the side. The relationship between teachers and students. Meaningless things. In this rotten world, it doesn't matter anymore. Obito looked indifferent. Then, with a flip of his hand, he found a kunai. All the people on the scene changed their expressions. Wind escape vacuum jade. An old voice suddenly sounded, but it was Sarutobi Hizen while Obito and Jiraiya were talking, and suddenly launched an attack on Obito. Laugh. A sharp blade appeared out of thin air, and slashed towards Obito's arm that grabbed Minato Namaifang. Oil Girl Jue, Jiraiya and others also entered a state of preparation in an instant. As soon as Obito was injured, they would make a thunderous shot and save Minato. Seeing that the vacuum jade was about to be cut into Obito's hand, Obito still didn't notice it, which made everyone at the scene a little excited. Action, is it about to succeed? But the next moment, Obito's body suddenly appeared a layer of energy shield in a very strange way, and the Fengdun sharp blade hit the energy shield directly. Then, it weakened so quickly until it disappeared. It was as if it was absorbed by the energy shield. Uchiha Obito was unscathed and completely unaffected. Sandemu, your childish attempt makes me very unhappy. Obito snorted coldly, and suddenly reached out to Hiruzen Sarutobi, Wanxiang Tianyan. Sarutobi Hizen flew towards Obito uncontrollably. Obito turned his hand, and the kunai in his hand stabbed directly into Sarutobi Hizen's chest. 3 generations. Everyone was shocked, their eyes were splitting, and their fists were clenched and the blue veins were exposed. But the 2 Hokage adults are in the hands of this person, but they absolutely dare not act rashly. Useless stuff. Bang. With a kick, Obito kicked directly on the body of Hiruzen Sarutobi, kicking the entire body of Hiruzen Sarutobi. Jiraiya caught Hiruzen Sarutobi right away, and found that whether it was intentional or unintentional, the dagger did not hit the key point of Hirosaki Sarutobi. Sarutobi Hizen was not killed, but he passed out due to his injuries. Jiraiya hurriedly handed the Sarutobi Hibiki over to the medical ninja on the side, and then turned around, fully guarding Uchiha Obito. Buzz. At this moment when Obito was distracted, Jue, the oil girl, seized this moment of crunch and controlled a piece of poisonous insects and flew towards Obito. And surrounded Obito's whole person. Success. Yunuji couldn't help but feel joy in her eyes. Shen Luo Tianzheng. But then, all those poisonous insects that rushed towards Obito were bounced back by an inexplicable force. Obito's figure reappeared in everyone's sight. At this time, Obito stretched out his hand towards Obito, and Yunvi Jue flew towards Obito uncontrollably. Laugh. Obito turned his hand over, waved the kunai again, and stabbed it into the heart of Oil Girl Jiwei. The front chest went in, the back chest came out, and a transparent hole was pierced through the heart of Oil Girl Jiwei. The oily girl Jiwei didn't even say a word before being slaughtered with the soil. Sarutobi Hizen is Konoha's third-generation Hokage, and according to Obito's information, although this old man has abdicated, he actually still has great power in Konoha. It's a bit similar to the meaning of listening to politics. This was useful for Obito's plan, so Obito didn't kill Sarutobi Hizen. But Oil Girl Jiwei, sorry, it's useless to Obito, of course he'll kill him without blinking an eye. Boom. After casually kicking the body of Oil Girl Jiwei aside, Obito glanced coldly at the people around him and said arrogantly, who else wants to come up and die? There was no one around who dared to act rashly. The various moves of this Uchiha man are too weird and too powerful, and everyone has no effective countermeasures for the time being. Konoha, what a bunch of trash. Obito said sarcastically after seeing that everyone was shocked by him. Laugh. After saying this, Obito turned his hand over and stabbed Kuwu into the heart of Minato. Boom. And in such an extremely insulting way, he kicked Minato Namikaze's body into the air. Watergate. Jiraiya let out a wailing, and an instant body technique rushed over and caught Minato Namikaze. After a quick inspection, Ji-Lai's face suddenly stiffened, his teeth gritted, and his face was full of murderous intent that could not be wiped away. The heart of Namikaze Minato has been pierced, and even the reincarnation of the gods cannot save him. Uchiha Obito. After a while, Jiraiya's eyes were split, and these murderous words burst out of his mouth one after another. He raised his head abruptly, trying to fight with Uchiha Obito, but seeing that Uchiha Obito, who had just done evil in the hospital, had disappeared without a trace. What about people? Why are they gone? While Jiraiya was looking for Obito's figure, Obito had already used his divine power to appear outside Konoha village. Gollum. Before long, Black and White Jew also emerged from the ground. I killed Hokage and seriously injured the third generation. Although I didn't control the Ninetales as I wished, this operation is still complete. Black and White absolutely nodded in approval. Yes, although it was disturbed by that abominable guy, we finally achieved our goal. I killed Hokage as a Uchiha native, and I almost stole the Ninetales. Konoha must have hated Uchiha to the extreme, and suspected him to the extreme. In this way, the conflict between Konoha and the Uchiha clan will reach an all-time high and eventually break out, and our plan will be able to move forward. Everything is under control, Obito. Black and White nodded and asked, what are you going to do next? I'm going to Nanga Shrine, Obito said after thinking for a while. Naga Shrine. Heiju felt very strange. Why do you want to go somewhere? Could it be that you still have nostalgia for the Uchiha family, so you want to visit? No, I want to see that steel. Obito said so. Heiju faintly felt a bad feeling in his heart, and he was also a little empty in his heart. Isn't that steel recording the infinite moon reading? I want to see it myself. Obito said to Heiju. Isn't Mr. Infinite Moon Yubin made it clear to you? Is there something you don't understand? Why did you suddenly think of going to the stone tablet to see it? Black and White is very careful, pretending to inquire as if nothing happened. It's that guy. He saw the infinite moon reading from the stone tablet, and then found some doubts and some inferences. Obito will be in the Shinwei space. The things that Lu Ren said to him, simply said to Black and White Jew. Highway felt like he was on a roller coaster. Hearing that Lu Ren suspected that the steel had been tampered with and suspected that there was a mastermind behind the scenes, God knows how nervous Highway was. Later, when Lu Ren suspected that the black hand behind the scenes was Chinsho Tobarama, Heiju's heart was about to break, and he finally relaxed. However, his pain in the balls has remained the same, and he has not changed in the slightest like the boy from before. After all, no matter how bullshit that guy's reasoning is, he has already managed to attract Obito's attention. Obito has already moved to check the stone tablet. Moreover, Obito now has the Eye of Reincarnation, and Black and White absolutely can't guarantee that he can hide from this eye if he changes the stone tablet. I was careless and negligent. After I was fooled by Madara, I should have restored the stone tablet. Black and White immediately thought with some annoyance in his heart, otherwise, there would not be such a big flaw left now. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.